years.
10 years.
Wow.
Did my tour.
Did you?
Yeah, that was great.
And what how do you get into mall copping?
Basically, zero education, no goals in life.
Really?
No, it's it's just one of those things that kind of just happens. Like I started off doing other security, and then it just turns into like, hey, I need a job, and a full-time job at that. And, and mall security is usually one of those ones like, hey man, can you breathe? I'm like, yes, fully functional. And they're like, you're hired, so that's how I got into it. And then
was your father in mall copping, or was it it's not a
no.
Okay.
My dad was actually a bus driver.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I've ridden on buses and I like it.
I mean, the uniform, the fact of us wearing uniforms in the family, that's a thing.
It is.
Yeah, it's not military, bus drivers, security guards.
Yeah.
Like
so you get a job at the mall, right? So where's the first mall you clock in at?
The first one I ever did?
Yeah.
It was called Horton Plaza. It was downtown San Diego, no longer there, rest in peace. But it was a 3-story mall, had the theater down there, had all the kids hung out there at the time because the buses went and connected all through there.
Who told you to get a job as a mall cop? Did you just...
Myself, honestly.
You did?
Yeah. I wasn't into the whole labor thing, I did the little side jobs, building swimming pools, just being out in the sun, stuff I didn't want.
What do you mean being out in the sun? Like what, hitchhiking or whatever?
Yeah, it was a hard job. No, just like labor, like hard labor, like digging and trenches and, like I said, digging swimming pools and stuff. It just, I'm too fat for stuff like that. So when I got into like the mall cop thing, it was kind of supposed to be a lazy job for me, and it definitely wasn't a lazy job for me because I still come from the era of chasing people down. You know? And that used to be fun.
What, as a mall cop, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, what is the training like?
Oh, here's the mall. Here's the clock in. Like I said, you can still breathe, right? I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, you're fully functional, Training with that, it's just more like.
But there's no like, you don't have to have a 40 time. You don't have to have like a there's not like a physical requirements to be a mall cop.
No, they actually will give you a Segway if you can't meet the physical requirements.
No way, really?
Yeah, like, oh, you can't walk that fast? Well, here's some mobile wheels, like, here you go. That Paul Blart shit's real. It's very much real. Like, a lot of people make fun of it and stuff. I'm like, actually, those are for the mall cops who can't get physical.
Wow.
And that's embarrassing. I've gotten on those things and actually chased people as a joke. Like, oh, they're stealing. I'm like, oh, watch this. It's embarrassing for them. They're running through the mall and you're just like, coastal. Oh, yeah, exactly. That look right there.
Well, Segways are so ridiculous because every time you're talking to a guy on a Segway, he's like, all right, man, I'll see you guys later. And then he's just like fucking.
Or you get those real professional ones and do the full spin on you, and they're just like,
yeah, that's just, all that like.
But the training wise, man, it's there's not much.
So there's no training. So there's no like, but there's not like where there's boot camp or anything like that.
Oh, not no more. No.
Okay.
I think that was the 70s security guards. I used to learn from those tough guys.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Punch them in the face. I'm like, well, we can do that? Like, we're not cops. I'm like, when you find out as a security guard that you're not a cop and things change, you're like, oh, I can do some shit now. But that was back in the day. Now you just have to kind of watch them steal and run off out the mall, and you're like, hey.
Well, what do you mean when you watch them, when you see them?
Like, okay, so as of like the past 10 years now, everyone's got cell phones and a stick up their ass. So it's like, hey, I'm trying to steal from your store. Don't touch me. So now some guy won a case, I don't know, however many years ago. Now it's like, you can't chase them. You can't touch them. You just have to kind of monitor their stealing. Like, hey, man, put that Gucci belt in that pocket. It's showing, like you got to kind of escort them out the mall.
So what do you even, what do you used to be like, stop, fucker?
Yeah.
Like, can you even do that?
No, you can't even say that. You can just say fucker. You just say fucker, like you say stop. Then we're like, hey, you can't tell me what to do. I identify as go, You're like, oh, shit,
So there's no training?
No.
Okay, so there's no training. Do you shadow anybody when you first start? Like,
you'll go in, you'll shadow a couple of the guys that have been there a while. They'll show you what stores to stay away from, what stores are cool. More or less just doing the whole rounds. A lot of time you would have, some malls would make you like scan in every 10 minutes through the place. But then we just kind of figured out, if you just took a picture and then went to the copy place and made copies of those and had a sheet, you can just sit in the office and scan those things if nobody's watching. So as soon as your shadow leaves, that was pretty much it.
Oh, so you're saying like a QR code?
Yeah.
Like at each place you'd have to scan as you're
Yeah.
moving around the mall?
Yeah, so every day you'd have to go and check in, like, oh, I'm at the Baby Gap, you know, here, and then you just have to keep checking in as you go through the mall to make sure that you've secured the whole place, stuff like that.
Like I'm at Baby Gap, I'm at Bed Bath & Beyond, I'm at Rocco's Tacos or whatever, and just around the bend.
Yeah. So we just take a picture of the barcode, send it to our email, put all the barcodes on a sheet, printed it, and then we had it in the office.
So you could just sit there and just scan them every few minutes?
Yeah, we put like timers on our cell phones and stuff. Like, hey, how long do you think it would take us to get from here to here? One guy was an idiot. He would scan them all in a row. And one of the time our supervisor came in, he was like, hey, Speedy, like, how are you doing this? And he's like, and we got caught a little bit, but yeah.
Wow, that's a good hack, bro.
Yeah, we had a lot of hacks at the mall, actually.
Did y'all?
Oh, yeah.
When you pull up, so when you first start there, were there like old heads working there? Like, what are the different types of mall cops?
Oh man. Okay, so you got your pant booters. We call them pant booters. Those are the security guards who did not make it as a cop. Their uncle or their step uncle was a cop, so they wanted to be a cop. So they come in, they got the whole vest on, everything's tucked in nice. They got their pants tucked into their boots, you know, they're ready for combat. And it's like, bro, it's a mall job, you know? So you got that guy. And I will tell everyone that you know that guy. We all work with that guy.
Yeah.
Then sometimes you get the little thug dudes that are just like hanging around just because they need a job, and that's not, you know, I'm not being discriminative, but it's very true. We get a lot of little thug guys that do security. It's great because they're the ones that usually bring the weed for us, you know, so it's always like, fuck yeah, love you guys. So those guys are usually ones like, you know, and that's not a race. That's just the little ghetto guys that always come. They don't do their job. Shirts untucked. They're like, we just do the bare minimum. You know, if there's someone stealing, let us know.
Yeah, those guys always look like they're going to get some girl pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Or they already have.
Yeah.
Like, the girl from Cinnabon's usually pregnant.
Is she?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's in the oven, baby.
Hell yeah. Both the bun and that.
Look, dude.
2 buns going at once.
Drizzle it.
Yep.
Okay, so those are the main 2 types of cops, you feel like, the mall cops?
And then there's just the average Joe. Like, I would have put myself in the average Joe category. Like, you know, just the dad who just needs a job. But there's that guy.
Okay.
You know, there's the real Paul Blart kind of type, you know, like no girlfriend, no wife, you know, lives at home with mom, can't wait to go play video games type guy, you know.
Like almost like the guy that never left the mall in a way.
He grew up in the mall and was like, I'm going to get a job here, you know, like
I'm
never
stay
left.
Here. Yeah, malls are awesome.
Yeah, I'm getting that 10% discount.
Malls are awesome, dude. I remember in our, we used to go to Slidell, Louisiana. They had a mall there. Bring it up, see if it's there. Just see some images of it. And they,
So this is a North Shore Square Mall?
yeah, those are
Really
the doors we go in, dude.
Fun.
And we camp. They let you camp right outside by the parking lot, like in the medians. So we get dropped over there on Saturday. We'd hang out at the mall, and then we'd sleep in our tents. And then Sunday we'd go back into the mall, dude. And they had a church service in there too, and we could just go do it all right there.
Nice.
Get you some lunch. Get you on some of those little shaker chairs that, you know.
I loved when those first came out.
Oh.
I was there for that. Like, I was there for that evolution of the mall chair.
Were you?
Yeah, they just popped up one day and we're like, what in the lazy is this? You know, like, it was great. You know, so all of us would be on our break just fucking vibrating out. And like, you can't do that. I'm like, shit, if I can. It only costs $1, you know?
Yeah.
It's
hey,
great.
whisper something nasty to me,
Right?
you know?
Oh, it's great. Segway. You're like, oh, yeah.
What was the uniform like that you guys had?
It's just a basic cop knockoff. I refuse to wear the Mount Me hats.
What is it?
The Mountie hats.
Oh, Mountie hats.
Yeah, we call them Mount Me hats, you know, from.
Oh, yeah.
But no, some malls will literally make you wear a Mountie hat. And it's like, why? We're in the fucking mall. We're not like,
Who are y'all?
Yeah, like, I don't know if you could, see, like, that's literally how a lot of mall
What?
cops will, yeah.
Why do they even make y'all look like that?
I have no idea. That's one of the most ridiculous things. Whoever did that, you really hate all of us.
Yeah.
Whoever, like, because there's an ultimate mall cop out there who's just like, I'm going to make this the worst uniform ever. And it's funny because you get those little ghetto dudes are like, they come in and like, yeah, I'm here to work. And you're like, okay, well, put on your little Mountie hat. And you're like, oh, shit, you know?
Why is the hat? Do you think it's just so people know immediately who is there to help them if they need it?
I suppose, but it's just more of like a target.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like we're already getting called rent-a-cops and everything else in the book.
Or whatever.
Yeah, you know, it's like,
sorry.
I'm shit. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't care.
Me neither. But I've been called fags all the like.
Oh yeah, but
all
now
that
they're like,
and-
oh, look at this fag in that hat.
yeah,
You're
it's
oh.
like you're like, fuck, man. I could have
You're
just.
like, you got me there.
yeah, you're like, fag, we were good. Now the hat. Fuck me. And it's like you can't even deny that. You could argue back with like, oh, you're a fag. Well, look at your shoes. And then all he has to do is go. You have a mount me hat on.
Yeah, you're a Canadian.
Yeah, and then on top of it, here's the worst part. Some malls will do the stripes, and like, oh, I've been here for 2 years. I got a stripe. You know, I got me a little lieutenant stripe. It's like, lieutenant of what? The fucking food court? You know, like, who cares? But those are some of the mall. I've dealt with a few malls, and one of the malls I had to deal with the mount me hats and the stripes. And
They give you stripes for how many years you've been there? Mm-hmm. Wow.
yeah, and one guy had like 6. I was like, you need a fucking life, bro. Like, all decorated, look like a general and shit.
He's
5 star.
serious, huh?
Yeah. And then he was the one on the Mountie hat who had, like, if you look at him, they have like these little like ropes or something that's on. I don't know what they're actually called. His was gold. Out of everyone had black ones. They were gray hats with black. He had to have a gold robe.
Because he was the leader or something?
He was just there. He wasn't even the supervisor. He was just there the longest.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like, you know,
10-4, yeah. And what kind of tactical gear do you guys have?
It depends on the mall. It depends on how they want you dressed. Mm-hmm. I've had to do the whole get up to where I've been an armed security guard, so I've had to wear guns and stuff, and the holsters and bulletproof vests and all that, just because of what was going on in the situation. And those are fun. It's fun to dress up like G.I. Joe because, you know, I'm 45, so it's like I get to play out little kid fantasies. Sometimes I'm like, man, I kind of wanted to do this when I was a kid. Now I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, you know, all teched up. When I worked dispensaries, I used to work a lot of dispensaries this past 10 years too. We were all teched up and tacked out and looking like SWAT and shit until the real cops came and they're like, what are you doing playing dress up? I'm like, you know, selling weed.
But are mall cops allowed to carry weapons?
At one point we were, and then one point we were not. We were allowed to carry batons and
what, pre-rolls or whatever?
yes, basically. It's like, it's either I'm going to beat you or here, smoke this, you know, fuck. But
Wait, you guys had a baton?
Mm-hmm. My era was like the last era of being able to carry a baton.
Yeah.
And what's funny in California, like, say you fucking come running out and I have a gun and a baton. Mm-hmm. If I shoot you in the leg, I'm good. If I hit you with that baton, LA riots.
Yeah.
All over. It does. There, see?
Wow, the baton, was it heavy?
Oh yeah, it's about an 8-pound stick of just, and there were some guys that would actually teach you how to use the baton and stuff, and it's like they get you on this wrist thing and bend you all up, and you're like, oh shit, can I just hit him with it? You know, like nah, you have to use it tactically.
That's what they said? Did you ever get to hit somebody with it?
I threw one at somebody one time.
Yeah,
it was like right out of the fucking movies too.
You hit him
in the legs, and he tripped and he fell, and we beat the shit out of him.
It's okay.
It was, oh man, it was a long time.
How long ago was it?
Oh shit, early 20s, so like 2020 or 2003, maybe something like that.
What's the statute of limitations on that, you think? Mall abuse or whatever. Non-sexual.
Oh, those are the best though.
10 years. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good, dude.
All right.
Yeah,
so I threw this baton at this guy, right? Mm-hmm. Now he was running out the store. Somebody's like, hey, you know, thief. And I was like, and I swear to you, I don't know what movie clicked in my head. I was like, grab your baton, throw it. I just threw it and I said, whoa. And it made the little noise and everything. Clipped him in the leg. He tripped. And I was like in my soul, I was like, I fucking did it. And by the time I like realized that my guys were already on him, I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, you do that now, you're going, like, as a security guard, you might go to jail.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, now it's so crazy. Literally, a thief can be like, watch this asshole security guard try to stop me from getting what I need. And you're like, you just totally rephrase stealing.
Right.
Okay. And why are you fucking filming this? Like, yes, things have definitely gotten really ridiculous out there. That's for sure, man. So outside of the baton, was there taser ever? Was there any smoke screens or smoke bombs or flares or baby flares or anything like that?
Not smoke bombs. We used fart bombs.
Really?
Yeah. We the little like fart ones. If the crowd was like too much, it wasn't a legal tactical move, old school move, but instead of like like, hey, everyone clear out. We wouldn't say shit.
Just throw one of those fart things on the ground or something.
And it was the stink bombs. They were called stink bombs. We throw a stink bomb on the ground. Cleared. Not a word. Not a fucking word out of our mouth.
And were those government issued or whatever?
No, those were out of the ice cream truck on the way to work.
Oh, they sold them there?
Oh, yeah. The ice cream truck. Oh, yeah. You're like, let me get a bubblegum ice cream and some stink bombs. Those are the good ice cream trucks when they had the cap gun still,
Gang, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had all of that. Yeah, we just got the sweets or whatever. I don't think ours had kind of a violence section or whatever, semi-violence. This security guard filmed all his farts for 6 months. You ever meet him?
No, but damn, where's he at? That's a goal. I'm gonna go 7.
He got fired for it.
Paul Flart, he called himself.
Why would he get fired?
I don't know. It's this. You can't fart anymore. You
Can't
kidding?
do anything, man. He really did.
Oh yeah.
By the way, this is that dad I'm talking about that works.
I love this dude,
Hell
and he
yeah.
just
His hair and his mustache.
One cool thing about a ball is, though, honestly, it's got the perfect acoustics
It really does.
for a fart to just
really
rock the
does.
frickin' Casbah in there.
Especially if you have like that back alley of like behind the stores where you do all the deliveries, you can get some good echoes in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a real farter's paradise back in there. So take me on a typical mall shift, man. You get there,
Get there, clock in, usually take a shit or go smoke because we don't do that for free. You have to do that on the clock. You gotta get paid.
did you have a strategy meeting or anything like that?
Yeah, we use a little powwow. All right, guys, we're gonna have a good day today. Get out there and do your job. Our powwows for mall security wasn't that much.
Really?
Nah.
Is there ever any intel that comes in that's like, hey, we got this to worry about, or there's like a drug group passing through, anything like that?
Sometimes we would get like a stack of papers on our thing, and there'd be like pictures of like some random Asian dude stealing like cologne or some shit, and you're like, watch out for him, and you're like, oh, okay, and you never see him ever because he already done stole. So there are those moments though where you get like a paper and you're like, hey, mall's most wanted or something, and he walks by you, and you're just like, fuck yeah, this is my moment right here.
Really?
Yeah, and then
Like, take me on one of those kind of.
so you like, okay, so sometimes they'll make a big deal out of it, like, hey, there's this mall guy, he's going around, he's stealing a bunch of shit. Here's pictures of him, okay.
Like the wet bandits or whatever.
Hell yeah. Shout out Wet Bandits.
But something like that, you know what I'm saying? Like a guy that's made a name for himself.
Yep.
Stealing from malls.
We had one guy who I bring up the cologne thing because he was actually a cologne thief. He would steal all the samples without the lids and shit. So he would get all these samples and just run off. But we got,
sample, baby, huh? He was Asian?
yeah,
Oh, God.
he was, yeah. I actually bought some from him after the fact. Seen him on the,
Some stolen ones from him?
yeah. Yeah, they're only $15. I seen him on the trolley. I was like, hey, dude, were you the one stealing cologne? He's like, yeah, which one do you want? And I was like, fuck, man, let me get that CK1.
Oh, CK1 wasn't too bad, huh?
No, I wasn't. Not at all.
God, they had some good colognes back then. I remember they had Aqua
Aqua
Di Gio?
Di Gio.
Aqua Di Gio, dude.
I'm actually wearing the black Aqua Di Gio right now.
Really?
Yes, sir.
They came out with black?
Yeah, it was a darker little bottle or something.
Yeah, dude.
Yes, sir. That one right there. That fourth one right there.
I just was always so ashamed of myself as a child. I never felt like I deserved to smell good.
No, you even wear Cool Water?
No, Cool Water was for brothers or kids that were fucking, I wasn't wearing that. What would I wear? I would sometimes get some Old Spice from my dad. And then I would also put like, what would I do? I would rub like, what was it that had deodorant. I would just put deodorant on the outside of my arms or like right here or whatever. Cause my mom taught us, we watched my mom do perfumes or whatever. Okay. So you're at work. You guys have had a strategy meeting,
Yep,
right?
We got the paper. We see, we'll say Bobby Lee stole some fucking cologne. So we're like, all right, cool. Bobby Lee, he's the fucking guy. And
Perps. What do y'all call it? Is there a term y'all use?
this fucking guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
This fucking guy, man, we're gonna get him. No, we didn't. Like a lot of us didn't try to use the whole cop terms and stuff like that because then you kind of look like the douchebag,
Right.
So we just leave it to the guy who tucks his pants in his boots. Like the purpose here, it's like Bobby Lee's here, and that's all it is,
Yeah.
So literally the one day that the perp walked by, I kind of was like, holy shit, this is him,
That's him.
So I radioed it in, did my whole Gus to the headquarters, and they're like, what's up? I'm like, yo, Bobby Lee's here. And they're like, no shit. I'm like, yeah, watch, come here. So they started watching him on the camera. We started following him, and they're like, just let him steal first. And this was back in the day of like, we can touch you, grab you, throw you,
Yeah.
So we followed him into like, I think it was Macy's, and he walked right into Macy's, and he had no hesitation. He started grabbing cologne and just started putting it in his belt. I was
You're
like,
watching him.
yeah.
From how far away? Like, where are you guys strategically located somewhere?
I actually had took my shirt off because I just wore Dickies. So I don't know if you guys know what Dickies are. There's black pants.
Totally, dude.
Yeah. So I just wore Dickies. I didn't
Mexican
wear the uniform.
freaking wedding wear.
Fuck yeah. So as soon as I took that off, just white shirt and Dickies, looked like I was from San Diego, So I was walking by, and he's doing his thing, man. I was like,
So you were undercover pretty much.
yeah. I did a lot of undercover work at the mall. Take your shit off, you just look like an essay from MS, and he was like, good to go. And so I see him, he's stealing the shit, and I call back and I said, what are we doing? He goes, grab him. Fucking just grab him. We grab him.
Who grabs him? You? Somebody
I grab
else?
him. No, I grab him.
Okay, well, take me in. You're making the move on him. Does he see you coming? Did he coming from the back?
He actually saw me walk by, kind of gave me a nod, and I was like, because I gave him the look like, yeah, man, steal that shit, bro. Right on, like, keep going. I never was like, I would never give myself away. So I walked around, and as soon as they said grab him, I literally just walked up, grabbed him by the shoulder, and said, hey, man, you're coming with me. I gave him the whole, like, you're coming with me, because it was my first time actually just, like, apprehending somebody in the act.
And how long have you been a mall cop at that point till you got to apprehend this guy?
Probably about 3 years, and wow. So I was just waiting. It was my moment.
Waiting to grab this fucking guy.
I snatched him up.
Hey, man, you're coming with me. That's what you said?
I was like, hey, man. Yeah, I was like, hey, man, you're coming with me. The whole just nine, I was like, you're coming with me. Lifted up his shirt. I was like, what do you think you're doing? And he's like, he just looked up and goes, oh, I'm sorry, but.
You put him on the ground?
Yeah, I tripped him on his leg, like, because we were backing up and he trying to lead forward. And any type of movement you do away from me, you're resisting.
Yeah.
We're fucking going down. So as soon as I pulled him back and he went a little forward, I just snatched his leg. We went down. I think one of the bottles broke because it just started smelling like fucking cologne badly.
Guilty.
Yeah. It literally, I was like, oh shit. It's because when we were in the office writing him up and the cops were coming, he just smelled like whatever cologne broke on him.
Everybody in there smelled, yeah.
Yeah, but
like aftershave or whatever.
But it was literally one of my best moments as a mall cop, just because I was like, I got him. I saw the picture, and within an hour, there he was, and I was like, my fucking golden goose, you're mine. You know what I mean? So it was good. I loved it.
Do you then have to go prosecute?
You have to do a citizen's arrest. You do a citizen's arrest. You do all that, and then
so you guys take him where? So you guys take him into a back room.
Yeah,
do you have him wrapped up or tied up?
No, we just put a zip tie on his hand. I had these big ass industrial zip ties, and we usually used to leave them on this hook. We never used them. We only used them if we brought somebody into the office that needed one. So I was just like, hey man, stick your hands out. And then he's like, he looked at me, he's like, oh shit. And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, are they too tight? And he goes, no. I'm like, oh. And I zipped him a little bit more because I didn't want him to. It's like, fuck them,
Oh, that's crazy when you're asking if they're too tight. It's obvious that, yeah. It's like, this is.
But he
It's like a little tighter. Won't you,
He felt some shame that day, and I was just like,
I bet.
The cologne bandit was mine. We never saw him again,
And do you then turn him over to the police? What's that like?
That's the lame part. You got to call them, and it's like they're not rushing to come handle this, So 9 times out of 10, you're sitting there with Bobby just shooting the shit for like 2 hours, like, so man, why do you steal? And then by the time you've already like counseled him, you want to let him go. I actually wanted to let him go, but it was already we were already in motion when I was like, bro, you fucked up, like I already had to fuck you up. And now the cops are coming. The first 10 minutes, it was like, they're coming to get you, man. You're so fucked. 20 minutes in, it's like, are you thirsty, man? Like,
yeah.
So literally cops took about 2 hours to get there. And by the time they got there, they're like, all right, so what's going on? It's like, oh, this guy was stealing, blah, blah, blah. Here's the clone bandit. He's like, oh, okay, so come with us. And then that was it. It was like, there was no fireworks at the end of this show. It was pretty, that's why I said it's pretty lame when you call them to come take them away. Cause it's like, you want them to drag them out and beat the shit out of them too. Just give them a little extra. Fuck them.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck them.
Fuck yeah, dude. You got it. Somebody has to get,
They didn't like us too much just because we were a waste of their time, calling them for stupid shit, stealing and all that. Because if you catch somebody like back then, if you caught somebody, you had to hold them. It's different now. You don't even call the cops nowadays. I don't even know what the fuck they're doing now. But they had that entitlement because we are cops.
Oh, they show up like you're big dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Do they look at you? Yeah. What's you guys' relationship like? Is it
was
simpatico or no?
No, not. It was just like those movies.
What does simpatico mean? Do you know?
No, actually, I don't.
Yeah, look it up real quick. Do you mind?
Kind of threw me off on that one.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I thought it was Spanish. Likable and easy to get along with. Okay.
No, we didn't definitely get along. It was like out of those movies, when like the detectives are all sitting so like the regular cops are there. So say we're the regular cops, we got it going on. It's our area. And then the FBI walks in. They're like, all right, guys, we're taking over. Go handle the perimeter type shit. And that was our relationship with them. There was always like, it wasn't too much like, oh man, thanks a lot, guys, for doing your job and, defending our country at the mall and shit. It was just more like,
fuck.
Yeah, fuck what, man? Like, I was not doing anything. Now I'm doing something at the mall.
Yeah.
It's like, and I actually had a cop tell me one time, this motherfucker, I forget his name, I had to give him a whole description of what was going on. And the problem is we didn't even have the guy. We had to just give a description of the guy who stole and the things he did to the car because he poured like some bleach on a car or some dumb shit. So we're giving him all this description, and he literally turns at me and goes, yeah, if I wanted to be a mall cop, I would have been a mall cop, and walked away. I was like, fuck, man. Like,
what? And what was he having issues? You guys were having issues with communication?
No, he just, the list of shit that I was giving him, it just got too long for him. Yeah. He was like, okay, so yeah, I get it. So what was he wearing? And I was like, I told you that in the beginning. I was like, you could have cut that conversation off when you found out he was 5'2".
Yeah.
It's like, but
some of it has got to be crazy. Like you have a Chinese guy or whatever pinned up against the wall for like, getting a pair of loafers or whatever. And then the cop has to come. He's like, what the fuck are we doing down here?
Yeah. Trust me. We were not on their radar of crime. I feel
so
like
they wouldn't clue you guys in like what was going on in the community and stuff.
No, we didn't get no updates or nothing like that. Like, no, they were like, there's like, we would know if there was a rapist in the area or anything like
you
that.
Wouldn't?
No, fuck, they didn't care about us. And
you would think they would tell you if there was a rapist somewhere because, I mean, first of all, one of the few places that everybody kind of goes sometimes is the mall, right?
Pretty much.
If you're a rapist, you still go to the mall.
You have to buy clothes, right?
Well, everybody goes, so it's like, that's the kind of shit to me. It's like, you'd think you'd give those guys at least just information because they're just standing around all day.
A lot of cops will use our parking lots for the hangout. You ever seen where like two cop cars like face each other?
Yeah.
That was our and you can't go near them. You can't go, hey Jim, what's going on? They're like, fuck away from us.
Really?
Yeah. It was weird. Like they had this like whole bubble around them because they would always park in our parking lots.
Yeah.
Every mall I've ever worked at, there's always a pair of cops that will do the whole facing each other like, shit.
Yeah. Two cops touching fronts or whatever.
Tip. I love it. You just fuck yeah, guys. But they didn't want us coming near them. We were never allowed to talk to them or anything. So we would just let them be in their little bubble.
What type of overall crime goes down at the mall? Like what type of crime are we talking about?
A lot of stealing.
Really?
A lot of stealing, of course.
And do you see people steal sometimes? Like you'll see them. Can you tell after a while? Or anybody could be a thief.
Anybody can be a thief. Anybody, man. I've seen moms, stick shit in like kids' backpacks, on camera. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Anybody can be a thief. I've seen a group of sweet old Mexican ladies, like, oh, they're inviting you over for dinner and shit and this and that and the other. And you turn around, they're stealing the fucking car. You're like, whoa, anybody can steal from the mall. Like vandalism. That's not really like a everyday crime. It's more of a crime when someone like gets thrown out of a store and you want to like break their door, kick their windows in and shit, thinking you did something to a corporate company who's got millions of dollars. Like, oh, I broke your $100 window. It's like, all right, cool. We're just gonna replace that. Those are the crimes that we get at the mall sometimes. Fights. Oh, fights are good.
Really?
Yeah, mall fights are good.
Do people go to the mall to fight? You mean meeting at the mall to fight?
Yes.
Or you're saying just things happen at the mall and a fight happens?
Like gang versus gang, two
Really?
different. Oh, yeah.
Where at? Where was this at?
Down in San Diego a lot.
In San Diego.
Yeah. Back in the day, like malls were always like where everyone just conjured up, all the gangs, all the crews, everyone like after school or the ditch parties would go there. And some groups just didn't get along, And next thing you know, you got this big fun riot brawl in the middle. And back then you were allowed to get in it and fight with them and throw them down and stuff. And those were fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's a mall. These are kids. There's a lot of kids off of school.
These kids nowadays, man, they're ruthless.
They're sick.
I was working a high-end department store, and this kid literally walked right up to me. He goes, "Do you work for the store or the mall?" And I was like, "Why?" And I could already tell he's about to steal all these Gucci belts. I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because if you work for the store, you can't touch me. And if you work for the mall, you can't chase me." And I was like, "Fuck, bro, like, it's all you then, Fucker stole belts right in front of me. I was like, "Get out of here, man." Like, because you can't do anything.
Does
you
it
can't do
piss you
shit.
off?
Little bit. Just,
It feels disrespectful.
yeah, like right in your face. And you're like,
That's trash.
it's like, fuck you little fucker.
That's trash.
Just because you can't afford the belt,
You don't come here to steal. It's just kind of, and also then if you're stealing something that's just a good, and it's not like it's a want, right? It's not a need or something or a snack or something like that, milk, bread or something, oysters like that. Then you're not it's your own choice at that point,
Pretty much.
It's not you like needing to survive, It's just
you don't need a Gucci belt to fucking pay, like,
yeah, you can't eat a Gucci belt, man. Who's at the mall anymore, and how has that changed over time?
Oh man. So from the early 2000s till now, it's definitely a huge change. Everyone back then went to the mall, no matter what.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you had the grandma, like in the morning, in the beginning in the morning, if you find the right mall, like I worked at a mall in Minnesota, and that mall had like little mile markers through it, and you get the whole old person group coming out and do their power walking and shit.
Oh yeah.
I love that. And so those are the days where you would see that transition about 9, 10 a.m. where all the old people leave. And then you get the adults coming in, like get the sales and shit. And then once noon hit, if it's a weekend, then the kids start piling in. It's fucking, the mall was functional back then.
Yeah.
It was like people watching was fun fucking back then. Like it was fun to watch. Now, I feel like nobody cool goes to the mall. If like, and it's not like, I'm not saying it like that. It's just like,
Yeah.
you go to the mall now for like direct service. You're like, all right, I'm going to here to get this and I'm leaving. A lot of people
Right.
don't hang out at the mall no more. It's not like, let's go to fucking Cinnabon and grab us some Wetzel's pretzels. Shout out to Wetzel's pretzels, by the way. By the way, if you notice, Wetzel's pretzels you can only find in a mall, I swear.
Really?
Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mall food.
Yeah, mall food is definitely something. Yeah, dude, the mall was such a place. I mean, we would sleep overnight outside of there.
Hell yeah.
We would, your friends, you'd go. I remember during summer camp, one of our field trips would be to the mall. We'd all go to the mall. People would wish in the fountains that were at the mall, They'd have, what else would we do there? Yeah, just going to see the different stores, walking down the mall. You stop at that candy store that had all the different candies. You'd go in the Bed Bath & Beyond or the candle store and do that.
The Disney store. The Disney
store,
the
dog.
fucking Disney store.
That shit was fucking clutch. Mexicans love that store too, eh?
Fuck yeah.
Why,
Fuck
bro?
yeah.
Why though? Really? I liked it, bro.
It's not racist if it's true, and I stick by this. If you can't afford to go to Disneyland, then the Disney store was the next best thing. They had little fucking things. I love the Disney store, man.
Bro, Disney store was so good, bro.
The original Disney store.
Yeah.
They still have them. But the OG Disney stores, when they were like, "Hi, welcome in," and Tinkerbell would come flying by, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, I'm here."
Dude, it was that. You're right, bro. There was nothing like that Disney store. We used to get. They used to have like the shirts with the characters coming out of the pocket, kind of. A little bit. You talking
Goofy
about?
would hang off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big thing, man. I remember I get my siblings Christmas gifts and stuff from there. A lot of times, nightgowns or something. You could get your sister like something she wanted, Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, no bullshit. One time, Me and my friend, Young Dave. Shout out Young Dave. Love you.
YKD, Young King Dave, not that guy that died from smoking weed, huh?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Young King Dave, bring him up. Pull up Young King Dave, bro. R.I.P., dude. Smoking big doinks.
He died from smoking weed, huh?
Yeah. He was like smoking one. He smoked a joint backwards or something, and he had asbestos or whatever, and it killed him.
What?
Dave James, Young King Dave Nixon, passed away at 19. Where was he always smoking out? This is years ago. His manager, Chris Clemenza. I used to message with him for a while, bro. I was a big fan of him.
Oh, wow.
Smoking big doinks out in where did he say?
Oh, yeah.
Play the audio.
Out here in Amish, smoking big doinks in Amish.
Fuck yeah.
Big old doinks.
He'd be smoking big doinks out there in Amish, dude, and he'd get
Yeah.
and he died.
Damn.
He had he just smoked all the time, I think, and I want to say he died. I want to get this right. What did he die of? Do you know? Play that one more. Play one more where he's smoking a joint.
We used to have guys like that work security with us.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They were the best. They always bring the weed.
It's fucking nice out. Who's trying to chill? Smoke some loud, feel me?
Fuck yeah.
I got loud. Hit my line. Either DM me or hit my line, bro. I got loud. I'm trying to smoke.
Just smoke it then.
Right.
You know? But yeah, that was a beautiful time. A collapsed lung is what got him.
Oh,
God.
Jesus.
Complications from a collapsed lung. He did have loud, dude. He blew his fucking...
Yeah, but that also comes from all those vapes that kids smoke nowadays. Like,
and adults smoke them too, like me and other people. But
You smoke
I
a
agree.
vape?
Let's not say that, but yeah, I do. I've been on and off it. You know, you try your best. But yeah, shout out YKD, bro. He was like one of the first dudes to kind of go viral. And he was always smoking big doinks out there. And that's what killed him. He would literally drive all over just meeting people to smoke weed and shit. And
what a great guy.
he got too big to get in his car or whatever. He was always eating. There he is at a mall.
Hell yeah.
What's he saying?
Okay, G, where the bitches at, bro?
Oh, he almost died right there.
They got Nathan's in a mall? That's a great
Nice.
fucking mall.
So yeah, just seeing something like that is great, man. But go back to the Disney story. Yeah, let's go back. Oh, dude, yeah. Start from the beginning of that, man.
Oh,
Dude, when you walked in.
yes. And it had that smell. It had that good Disney smell.
Well, it was very organized. Things were kind of pricey in there a little bit. So it had like some esteem. You could get something small like a keychain, but you could get something like ice skates or something, you know? If
Oh, yeah. A princess dress, the whole nine.
all that shit. If you had a child or a little daughter or somebody, you could take them in there. That was a pretty high-end store, I felt like, for the mall as far as children's paraphernalia.
Hey, I'll never forget that bundle of plush. There was always like a big area of like all the stuffed animals and shit. Oh man, I used to just kind of give it a hug, you know?
Yeah.
You
Well,
have
they
to.
had that nice stuffed. Now, Disney showed up with a quality stuffed animal. I think Applause was the company that made a lot of their stuff. The parent company or whatever that made the stuffed animals. But yeah, dude, when the Disney store came.
We got kicked. Me and my friend got kicked out of a Disney store. Inside, I don't know if you remember the little theater that was inside for kids to kind of like crawl in, and there was like they would show old Disney movies
Inside there?
Yeah,
Oh, it's for children. I didn't go in there.
yeah. Well, I slid in there one time to roll a blunt real quick and hurried up, got that done. But then I got stuck watching the fucking cartoons, and the lady's like, "Hey, keep it moving, guys." I'm
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Sorry, we're just like Mickey Mouse, man.
Mall type shit, homie. That's what it is,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, what other stores? Now, what about Build-A-Bear? Were you there when that came out? Or
Oh
not?
yeah.
And what kind of clientele would you see over there, brother?
Mostly the white folk.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Build-A-Bear's a white thing?
Yeah, I would say so a little bit. You know, it's an experience. It's fun. You know what I mean? Here's a store for you. Sharper Image. That was the fucking jam right there. Sharper Image was like by far. I think Sharper Image was the reason I got a mall job. Actually,
Wow.
no shit. Because
Oh, yeah, it was where the future. It's where Elon Musk was born.
yeah, bro. Sharper Image was
Dude,
it.
wasn't he born in a Sharper Image? this was our Elon Musk.
Yes, right. Straight up.
Sharper fucking image, dude. You would find a hair dryer that could sort coins and
Massage your feet.
yeah, and massage your feet, tell you your blood type, and tell you if your mom was being a bitch or not.
And then they would have like a remote control car that you could never fucking afford.
Always.
Yeah. And it was like the best one. I don't even know what that is, but I wanted it. You know?
Oh, they had dude, because everything in there, none of it made any, like, it was a ridiculous. They had like a wallet that could grate cheese. They had like what? You know, they had like those things you'd put your women right there. What is that?
Little foot spa.
Foot spa, at home foot spa. Those things that everybody bought and never used.
Never, ever.
But Sharper Image was it, dude. They'd have like weird little like what is this? Premium innovative defrosting tray. You could just set your meat out on a tray and it would defrost. That's called a counter. But they sold that bitch fucking $100. Sharper Image premium innovative defrosting tray, dude. What else did they have? Sharper Image warming foot massage.
Fucking, my mom had those right there.
Really? Did she use them?
Yeah, they smelled after a while.
Oh yeah, definitely, dude.
They fucking rank.
Ugh.
Yeah, but Sharper. Oh, that was it too. The hanger dryer, or whatever it was. There was a hanger for your clothes that would like blow out air and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it was ridiculous shit. This right here is a Sharper Image closet ionic air purifier.
Yeah, that's what I need.
So between two of your shirts, you can put an air purifier? That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, dude.
Sharper Image seems like, I have this invention. Yeah, it's not going to work out, but we have this store for you.
Yeah. Yeah, everything there. Now, the chairs were the big thing, though. You'd go in.
That's the reason you went.
And you'd look at the lady, and she would give you a look as to whether or not it was just it wasn't a yes or no. It was just, you could tell if you were allowed to go get in that chair or not.
Yeah.
You could tell.
It was either they were going to help you out or they just gave you the look.
Yeah.
You know?
Where are your parents? Yeah, they would say something like that. Kind of passive aggressive, but direct.
Yeah. Who are you here with? Myself and this chair.
What stores do different ethnicities frequent at the mall? Where do mi gente go? Where do the Mexicanos go?
C's Candy.
Really?
Yeah.
¿Por qué?
Free candy. Free samples.
Oh, wow.
You walk in, they give you a fucking treat. Hi, welcome to C's. Butterscotch. You're like, fuck yeah. C's Candy was the lick, man. C's Candy had everyone there. Yeah.
C's Candy, huh? Hey, C's.
You got to understand, though, C's Candy was just a reason for us to go get free candy.
And Mexicans love sugar, yeah?
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Good gifts, too. I used to live down in Mexico. I used to get boxes of candy all the time. I'm like, wait, are you saying something? Like, no, it's good. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, the peanut brittle there is pretty nice. I will say that. They made a beautiful brittle for a while. I don't even know if C's Candy is still open or not.
Oh, they are.
They are?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Giving out them free samples daily.
Where else do the Mexicanos go?
Ooh. Back then, let's see. I forget the name of the store. Oh, remember KB Toy Store?
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't go to Toys R Us. They went to KB Toy Store because it was cheaper.
Respect.
Yeah. I mean,
Respectado.
I went there. I loved KB Toys.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. I don't know where we would. I think we'd a lot of times get our toys over at Walmart, I think. But what about the brothers and sisters? Where do they pull up at?
Oh, shit. Bed Bath & Beyond.
No.
Lotions.
Oh, for
Smell
show.
goods. Smell goods and lotions.
Lotions for shotions, bruh.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Yep.
You could. Oh, yeah.
There was tons of lotion.
God, they had all kinds in there too.
All kinds.
Dude, remember when okay, so black people went to Bed Bath & Beyond. Do you remember at Bed Bath & Beyond, bro, when they came, there was it Bed Bath & Beyond? I think it was. Maybe it was at Sephora. They had these lotions that started to smell like cookies and shit, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd never had it before, and people were going crazy.
I actually, you know what's funny is I remember that year, the summer, girls were walking by smelling like candy and shit. Like,
Yeah.
what is this? This is nice. You know? I think it was Bed Bath & Beyond. Yeah, there you go. Christmas cookies, man.
Body lotion. God, that shit was
yeah.
nice. Shit was nice, bro.
It was like the new cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Bath and Body Works.
Bath and Body Works.
Ah, Bath and Body
Yeah,
Works.
Bath and Body Works.
That's what it
bro.
was. That's what it was.
What about the Indians, Bangladeshi, Muslims, all that? Where do they pull up at? Any?
high-end stores.
Really?
Yeah, they were the high-end people. The dads always walking with their hands behind their backs, moms with their purses out, kids spending all their money. Oh yeah, 100%.
That's Asian.
Yeah.
What was up at Hot Topic, dude?
Ooh, Hot Topic, man.
Who hung out there? That was a different corner.
Okay, so my Hot Topic era was the real emos, the real little grungy ass kids that came in there and shit. You know, it's all like Sailor Moon now, but back then it was
kids eating rust and shit.
fuck yeah, man. Like they would come in and make black makeup all over their face and shit. But
the beautiful baby. Oh, the beautiful baby.
Marilyn Manson, the real Marilyn Manson kids.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Those
The people that would eat their parents if you gave them a half hour.
fuck yeah, and they didn't buy you something from Hot Topic. It was
Real MFers. Hot Topic was it, right?
Yeah, man, I loved Hot Topic. What's funny is I grew up very urban, very like hip hop and all that shit. But Hot Topic was definitely a vice of mine.
Yeah, it was, man.
It really
was like when you
was.
went in there, you're like, what's going on? Am I old enough to be in here? Is this something just my older brother and sister can go to? That was crazy. And they also had music in there.
Yeah,
They had CDs. This was back when they had CDs and shit. And so that was different because people would be there. If you're there picking out music, then your brain's in like a music space. So you might get a shirt that goes with a band, you know.
yeah, because you're like there was a bunch of like ICP albums there.
Yeah.
That's who used to hang out at Hot Topic, like the Juggalos of San Diego. Yeah, I used to love it.
Hot Topic was like that, man.
Hell yeah.
Any other store really? What about Structure? Remember that store or no?
Oh, look at you.
Blast from the pad, baby.
Wow, Miller's Outpost even.
Dude, Miller's Outpost was like about Arizona and shit.
Yep.
homie.
Miller's Outpost turned into what, Anchor Blue or something like
Did
that?
it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Anchor Blue was like the first time you could buy like baggy pants and shit, you know, because I was like, fuck yeah. But Miller's Outpost was definitely one of the stores that all the trendy kids went to. Like everyone popular went to Miller's Outpost, got Genkos and shit like that.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking Levi's. They had the suede vans there. Yeah.
Dude, I'd never seen a Miller's Outpost till I lived in Arizona for a little bit. And that's when it was a little bit different. What did you guys see on the cameras? And did you guys ever catch anybody having sex or anything like that?
Man, so I actually have a good story about that. We've seen a lot on camera. I've seen people getting head. I've seen it all.
Oh, yeah. That's one vote for Trump right there.
Hell
baby.
yeah.
You feel me?
But we had a direct incident with one of our guards. Okay. So
And what rank was he?
he was a no striper.
No stripe.
He was a no stripe. He was a baggy pant, dicky wearing guy like me. Good guy though. But he was messing around with the girl from Cinnabon.
He was.
Yeah.
Was she cute?
She was all right. She was a Cinnabonner, you know?
Yeah.
So one day I'm watching the cameras, and on the cameras I notice she's going to the car, and I'm like, that's not our guy. I think it's the movie theater guy, you know?
Wait, what are you talking about? I'm confused.
Okay, so the girl from Cinnabon, we were watching her go from Cinnabon to the parking lot to her car,
Okay.
but she was walking with a guy.
Oh, she's walking with a guy to her car.
And I think he was the employee, one of the employees from the movie theater. Goes in there, we could clearly tell they're doing some shit. He leaves. Within 5 minutes, somebody else comes walking up, and it's our guard. He gets in the car. No. They start doing their thing.
Was it a Honda Accord?
It was a Nissan Altima.
Yeah,
Yeah, Altima.
for sure.
So they do their thing, and we're just like, me and my other guy are like, no fucking way this is happening. Like, she's on her break. You know, she's doing all this on her break.
Oh, so she's on her break. She met up with movie dude. They're hanging in the car. He leaves. 5 minutes later, y'all's boy shows up. The other guard shows up.
Does his thing.
Somebody from your rank.
So he gets in there, and I was like, hey, man, I got to show you something. And I was like, hey, you know, we saw you go. And he's like, yeah, but I know you're not going to say nothing, right? You know, I'm like, yeah, but rewind. He's like, what the fuck? So we start, you know, talking shit to him and all this stuff. But I go up to the Cinnabon girl, and I was like, hey, I watched everything that happened. She was like, please don't say nothing. I'm like, Cinnabon for life. So I got free Cinnabon for life. But yeah, my boy and the movie guy taxed the same girl in a half-hour period. Wow. Saw that on camera.
And do you think it was full sex or you think it was oral?
It had to been full sex, the second guy.
No way. Why?
Sure. He came out adjusting his pants, and she came out like adjusting her shit. The first one, she was going like, you know, like,
Oh,
wiping it up.
oh yeah.
She probably just needed free passes or something, you know?
Oh yeah. You know, that's probably when what's that movie that killed Paul Walker?
Fast and the Furious.
That's probably when Fast and Furious 3 came out. Have you what else would you guys did you guys ever
Hi, this is Allie calling from Cole's department store on Gulf Road. I've got an active.
This just shows how they.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
God.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right there
that's
behind the dumpsters, though.
Oh yeah. It's hard for me to stay erect if there's broken glass around or like a bad trash smell is rough, you know?
The smell of other pee kind of throws it off, too.
Oh, dude, I remember. So Wiggers, kind of remember them?
Oh, yeah, I was one.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right on, dude.
Yeah, I had a black stepdad. I have a black stepdad, so grew up in that, you know.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "You're a Wigger." I'm like, "How? There's a real one at my house."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but they started at the mall. I feel like.
100%.
Yeah, like back in the day, I feel like if you needed a Wigger or you needed a ginger, you went to Foot Locker or Lids. I feel like that's where that was like their junior college
This
or
guy
whatever.
just called out my whole life right now. I love Lids.
Oh, bro, Lids is the definite place for you to roll up and see what was kind of wiggering around the area. You know?
Oh, yeah. Malibu's Most Wanted was always walking through Lids. It was great. And those were the ones that...
Yeah, that's where God kept most of the Wiggers, I feel like, was Foot Locker and Lids, dude.
Yep. 100%. 100%. And JCPenney's. They hit out in JCPenney's.
Really?
Yeah. Because that's where all like some urban clothes were at, you know?
Yeah.
So they would get them on sale. They knew where the sales were.
What happened as malls started to decline, man? Did you notice any of that in your time?
Yeah. You could definitely tell like over one summer about 10 years, 15 years ago, it was just like not packed anymore. Wasn't fun anymore. They still had the big movie blockbusters coming out, but people weren't lining up to see Spider-Man no more. You know, like once you see the theater die out, I think that's when the mall is done. Once the theater starts going and you can't draw anybody in there, because theater's always been like the hub of why you go to like the mall sometimes. You know, like what are you going there for? I'm going to the movies. You know,
Right.
but as soon as that decline started, it just. You can see like, and it's sad when you see like empty stores in the mall, you know, like, oh man, I used to go there. And it's like, well, it's not there anymore. It's like, put something in there and they'll put like a phone store in there, or they just, now Apple's like 20 stores deep and you're like, who cares, you know?
Yeah, or it'll be like Kumal's Magic Shop or something. And it's like, get fucked, homie. I'm not going, if someone's dropping you off at the mall to learn magic, dude, you are being sex trafficked, dude.
Yeah, you're being set up for something.
I mean, that's easy, right, guys?
Yep.
But
what about during the holidays? Did malls always stay busy at the holidays?
Yeah, they did for sure. Because once, like you said, once the decline happened, stores started doing more sales during the holidays, trying to get the attention out. And those were the times it's like, the holidays for the mall was great because it's like traffic. People were out having good times and stuff, like, you know, mingling.
Yeah, it's fun.
And that's the best. And that's the best thing about the mall. They're blasting that music, man, 24/7. It's like, it feels so good. And with the holiday mall thing, it's, I wanted to go back to that. Like, get rid of Cyber Monday and put it all back in the mall. Put the holiday sales back in the mall. Let us fight. Let us like terrorize doors. You know, like I miss the real Black Fridays.
Yeah.
The real Black Fridays are gone.
Really?
Yeah. The true Black Fridays of sitting out all night and you open that door and 2 Black Fridays I got into a fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Black Friday was crazy for you guys.
Oh yeah. Like that.
How would you prepare for that? Would you guys would you guys have to do any special training before Black Fridays, or did you guys get up early that day? And what was that like?
To be honest, a lot of us would do actual stretches, like for Black Friday, because we knew we had an 18-hour day. Some of us who were smart enough ate correctly, stretched out a little bit because we knew we were going to fight. Especially if there was a target at a mall, like if there's a target set in the mall, that Target was the worst place for Black Friday. Everyone's lined up, they're rushing through, they are punching you, they don't give a shit about nothing. But the OG Black Fridays, man, I miss those. Those were the fighting days over like something. Yeah, and
and
those were like, and those were the first like remnants of you can't touch anybody. You know, the OG Black Fridays were kind of like the start of don't touch anybody, just let them fight over that fucking blender that's only $2.
Right.
You know, and you let them go at it.
Well, it used to be you could buy like a coffee maker. They'd have like a coffee maker that can tell if your cousin's gay or not, you know, and he'd be like, well, who cares? But yeah, we got to get that, you know.
And they would fight over it.
Yeah. Or they'd have like a water purifier that can tell, that can guess your like weight or whatever. It's just like shit that's like.
One lady, one Black Friday got beat up outside because at the time, I don't think they understood the system of layaway. So, like the actual store didn't understand what they got themselves into.
Yeah.
So this lady goes up and everyone's in fucking line for the electronics. Everyone's fought already now. I've lined everyone up, calmed everyone down because the electronic department in the store wasn't open yet. They were waiting 2 hours to put everything on sale. This lady goes and asks, how many PlayStation or how many PS4s do you have? And they're like, oh, we have 100. And I remember hearing like, we have 120. She goes, I want to put layaway on all 120 because it was only like $5 a layaway. So she's like, how many cameras do you have? Okay. And so she spent like, I don't know, like $2,000 on layaway and bought out damn near everything that people were waiting in line for. So by the time, like even the second person, like, so I can't get a PlayStation. They're like, no, as soon as they put it on layaway, they have to take that exact item and put it in the back. So it wasn't like they can reorder anything. There was like whatever was out on sale. So this fucking lady put all this shit on layaway. She gets out and people down the line went and met her outside and asked her like, hey, are you going to sell this stuff? Like, is there any way we can get in it? And she's like, no, and started walking away and they beat the shit out of her. And I shut the door and walked away.
That's greed.
Yeah, I was like, you deserve that one.
Yep.
Like, because she was one that
She deserves it. You can't go on Christmas. You're telling me how old was a woman?
Oh, she was in her 40s.
Good. You're telling me, Miss 40s, you're going to use 120 PlayStations? You're getting beat.
You're getting fucking beat up. You're getting beat up.
And that's the kind of shit we need. Vigilantism. Here's a video right here. Black Friday Stampede.
Oh, Pink
at
used to be a good
Victoria's
store.
Secrets. And this is White's hunting panties right here,
There
boy.
we go.
A lot of fucking thong.
Hell yeah.
God, that thong in there. Bro, remember when the thong came out?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Bro, Google when did the thong come out, bro? Because that changed everything, bro. Everybody became a hoe right then.
Mm-hmm.
When did the thong come out, bro? The thong swimsuit. I'm talking about the thong panty, bro.
Panty. Like, when did it come out in Walmart to make you feel uncomfortable? Because I remember there was a time when they were actually out like in the Walmart and you'd walk by and you feel, oh shit, I don't think I can walk by this aisle.
1990s, it said,
Looks like they debuted in 74, but really caught on in the 90s.
let's go to, go get it. Okay, 74, go to there. The thong makes its official debut with Rudy Gurnietz's invention of the thong swimsuit.
Yep, 2002.
A year later, this style was being sold as underwear across America. That's in 74. In 1990s, thong underwear hits the mainstream. That's what happened. Marketed widely as a practical undergarment to pair with slim-fit jeans to best avoid visible panty lines. Yum, yum. The 1995 Victoria's Secrets hold its first public runway show led by models Stephanie Seymour and Rebecca Ramahan, igniting a consumer thong frenzy, dude. 2002, over 120 million pairs of thong underwear were sold in the U.S. alone.
That's when I was at the mall.
Really?
Yeah, those were the years I was at them. Like, those were the good days, man. Had a lot, because I was 22, so you had all those like those young ass women coming out of college buying the fucking, what was it, like 5 for $30.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would definitely, I would be in there, I bet.
It was a sniffer's dream.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Would you guys ever go in there and do some pervy shit?
We wouldn't, but we would catch the people that were. You know.
Were there some lurkers in there in Victoria's
yeah.
Secrets? What was that like? Because that was was that where the babes were at? Where were the babes at in the mall?
Victoria's Secret.
Okay.
Victoria's Secret. We got a call one time about a pervy dude in Victoria's Secret because I guess they're allowed to try on the panties and they put a little panty, like whatever they do to put a little panty liner in to like block the, you know, the clam and the jam. So I guess when they take the panties off, it's not like they go throw them in a washing machine. They just put them back on the rack. So I guess the guy caught on to where they were putting those panties, and he would go by and just kind of, oh yeah, these look good.
Get that huff?
Yeah, get that good whiff in,
boy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Make your wiener walk forward, baby. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand. I think it's and would you guys have to go and talk to that guy?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what do you say there?
I actually used my own words. I said, hey man, what the fuck are you doing in here sniffing underwear like that? And he's like, I'm not. I'm like, bro, you are in here sniffing panties like a fucking pervert. Why? And he's like, and he started walking away. I said, hey bro, don't come in here no more. Stop grabbing handfuls of panties and sniffing them. We see you. Yeah. And then he walks out, and I swear he said this under his breath. He goes, I'm still gonna do it.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's dedicated.
Yeah, you got to respect that, man.
But he was definitely one of the only ones that I actually encountered. Mm-hmm. I've heard plenty of stories. Like there's Victoria's Secret girls used to tell stories all the time about like, oh man, this guy used to do like a run by sniff, or girls would like if they pull up their panties, or they would hold panties in the air to look at them or something, a guy would like drop his wallet or something, good, a quick little sniff by, and he's like, yeah, we see a lot of that here. I'm like, why don't you say anything? Like, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's really pervy. I'm like, it's all pervy. It's all pervy. But at the same time, I guess it could be funny if you just see somebody hit a knee and a sniff.
Yeah. And what would they do? Is trying to smell the woman?
The butt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll get you.
Sniffers are weird.
Yeah, well, it's, humans are 40% animal or something, and they do it, So I don't think it's crazy.
No.
But it's, it's an art form. I don't know if it's an art form. That's crazy. But yeah, it seems weird.
I think it should have been something back in the day that got frowned upon. Like, hey, you can't be sniffing Sally's ass. It's like, whatever. Man.
Yeah. Have you ever had to protect like a mall Santa or anything like that?
Yes.
Or what's it like when the mall Santas come? Take me through some Christmas time lore.
Okay, so the mall Santa situation is always a fun one because 8 out of 10 times he's a drunk.
Really?
Oh yeah. You will honestly get a Santa guy that comes in there who dedicates his life to being Santa all year long, who can't wait to go to the mall to do the Santa thing, and then you got guys like me who are like, fuck, I just need a job for like the season. It's like a seasonal job, But I've had guys literally pull up drunk, like, hey, where do I go? I'm like, who are you? Santa. It's like, oh, come on over here. The drunk Santas were always fun because they had the drugs. They had the weed, and they were the funniest with the kids because they were the nicest.
Yeah.
The guys that actually did the Santa Fool year, they would get irritated through the first 2 hours. The drunk ones would be like, hell yeah, I'll get you a Ferrari, anything you want,
Yeah.
So I used to hang out with those Santas during the season.
I'll get your mom a half pound of cock. You feel me? That's crazy. That's stupid.
Actually, I've actually heard a Santa hit on a mom.
And he should, dude.
He said, I got a present for you to unwrap.
Oh, Santa should get the first guy any woman should want is Santa. Who's your husband? And you're like, he plays for the Mets or whatever. I'm like, bitch, my husband is Santa. Mm-hmm. We had Santa on the podcast. Show a clip of that guy. Let's just get a look at him. He was amazing, man.
Oh, he's got the full.
Look at him.
He got a championship belt on an area. Look at him. He is the world champion of Santas.
It was so cool to meet him, dude. We were excited.
How long did he do it for?
He was in the game, I think, 26 years.
He did mall Santa stuff?
He was Santing. He'd done all types.
Nice.
He'd done it from everywhere across the globe, from Guam to
oh, wow.
Connecticut. Yeah, he'd done everywhere. And what was it like? Anybody ever any issues with mall Santas or anything like that?
One Santa had to get fired his third day, and I think because he fought a parent because the kid asked for something, and the parent was going like this, trying to tell Santa like, tell him no. It's like Santa's not allowed to say no. You know what I mean? Well, the kid was just asking for like toys, like basic ass toys, but I guess the kid was a bad kid, and this was supposed to be a lesson to the kid, but the parent didn't let us in on the jam. So the kid starts telling Santa like, hey, I want this toy. He's like, oh yeah, this, that. And she's like, no, tell him no. And like you can see him kind of like, okay. So he keeps going on. Then the dad walks up and he starts still telling the story or telling what toys he wants. And the Santa starts just eyeballing the dad because now the dad's like doing this. So the kid gets up and now the dad walks over and says, hey man, we're telling you fucking no. And he's like, hey, I don't know what you're telling me no to. He's just asking for toys. And the dad kind of just did like this little backhand to it. Like he's like, shut up. Just kind of backhand. It literally a transformer. He went from Santa to whatever his name was. Because he stood up and literally as he stood up, the beard, the hat, and everything just kind of came off, the whole top. He's like, what? And they just started fighting right there on the spot. He's like, Santa started hitting him. I kind of stepped in the middle, pushed the mom back because the mom started clawing at us. And then the kid's like, the kid literally standing there going, what did he yelled out, what
am I getting a bike? Yeah.
I just want to know. Fuck, but he literally yelled out, what did I do wrong? And I'm like, oh man, like in my head, I'm like, you didn't do nothing wrong. It's your fucking parents,
Yeah.
But and later on, and the cops came, the parents were explaining that we were trying to teach him a lesson. We brought him here because we wanted to talk to Santa and all this shit. And I'm like, well, you ended up getting your ass whooped.
Yeah.
So what's the lesson here?
Yeah, you can't attack Santa because because he's the best. That's why.
Yeah, and bro, you don't know who's under that Santa,
No.
No.
Let me ask you this. Would you hit on women during at the mall? Because it's probably hard. Here's what I would guess would be tough. A woman shows up at the mall. She's attractive. You feel attracted to her. But then how do you not just chase her? Like not chase her, but you know what I'm saying? A mall is just people are going in a certain direction. If because I remember when I was young and I'd be at the mall, you'd kind of be following the girl around the mall.
Mall stalking? Mall stalking's real.
Is that what it's called?
Mall stalking.
Mall stalking.
And as a mall cop, you can definitely get away with it more than just being an average Joe.
Yeah.
Because if you're like just following a girl in normal clothes, you're like, what the fuck's going on? But no, we used to mall stalk back in our days. Girls would show up and it'd be nice too because like it's kind of weird because we had our own little groupies. Because they think we like, oh man, he's a security guard. He can get us backstage. Like to what?
Yeah.
The best we can do is probably sneak into the theater. And that right there was money back in the day. Girls loved us for that.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a kind of a scam because I would walk the girl up to the movie theater and I would know half the people anyway. But most of the time I'd walk up and be like, hey, she left her purse in the theater. I'm just going to walk her in and make sure she gets out. And they're like, oh, okay, Gus, you're all right. And I'm like, so what movie would you like to see? Easy numbers, man. Easy numbers. But yeah, mall cops actually had their own little groupies around. It was great.
Ever get laid from a woman you met at the mall?
Nah.
Yeah. Really?
Nah. No. I never pursued too much. Like I never pursued the clientele.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because you never knew where that was going to land. And
oh yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you see like an attractive woman and they're just shopping at the wrong store and you're just like, oh yeah, good on that. Sometimes it just fucks everything up.
Yeah. Oh, so do mall cops have enemies? Do you guys have
other mall cops?
Really?
Yeah. Other mall cops.
So there'd be beef on the force?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you have, so say you have mall cops.
My heart.
Say you have mall cops that like they're on their day off, and they come to your mall, and they make it known that they're mall cops. Now there's just that beef, and you see them walking around because sometimes they'll come. And you're like, oh, we wouldn't do it like that. Oh, you guys do it like, oh, well, we do it like this. Like now we have beef. Yeah. Fuck your mall. Fuck your whole mall. Yeah.
So there was mall beef.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. Anything has beef, you know what I mean? But mall cop beef was funny.
Would you guys ever do like a volleyball team or anything like that for your mall? Was there any like
No, I did try to get a softball tournament going between the mall guys one time. I'm not kidding. I really try to get
dude.
I really try to get some softball shit going. Go out there, get drunk, and if things lead to the ninth inning, we fight. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was trying to organize some things, trying to have some fun,
Yeah. I think you have to. I remember at a Waffle House one night I'd been using or whatever, and I was in there, and I almost had a team to put together to fucking play another Waffle House.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And then I don't know what happened after that. I think I might have fallen asleep or something. But it was just people were.
Hey, when you get them on board though, that's the best.
Oh, that's when it's the best, dude. What about ever have a lost child situation there?
Oh, yeah. Though,
ever had a kidnapped child situation?
No kidnapping situation. an attempted kidnapping happened on my day off. Wow. We all heard about it. I'm not going to say it wasn't like a major thing to where like somebody got out and like snatched a kid, but I guess a lady was going around courting kids, so to say. Like if the parent would walk away, the lady was walking up and just kind of like, oh, do you know my son? Have you met my son? Oh, I think you go to school with him. He's over there. And I guess she was just like listing random names, and just a kid goes to elementary. It's like, you might hit one of the names. Oh, James is over there. And I guess on the camera, one of the kids like looked up and said, oh, James, and went to walk towards. And the mom's like, hey, where are you going? And if the mom wouldn't have looked, I think that would have been it for the kid. But no straight out like kidnapping. Lost kids all day.
Yeah.
Out of a 5-day like schedule for the week, 4 of those days, you're going to deal with a lost kid.
No way.
Guaranteed.
What happens? What's the major cause of that?
Parents just being like just too into what they're doing. Kids just running off, not paying. And like I have a toddler, man. These kids they're just fast. You know what I mean? They're fast as fuck. And once they take off, that's it. You know, like sometimes it's not the parent's fault. Sometimes it is the parent's fault. Like I can really back it up. Like it maybe not, but usually is. I've had kids on the opposite side of the mall where the parents were literally like inside like J.C. Penney's, and this kid bolted through the whole mall.
Damn.
Made it in other stores, made it all the way down, and now he's just sitting at a toy store by himself. And that's the truth. He was literally sitting in a toy store, and when I found him, he was sitting there playing with a toy, and I was like, hey, and his name was Jacob. I was like, hey, are you Jacob? And he looked up, he goes, yeah. Because he was like 7 or 8. He was, you know, like he was old enough to know like, fuck my parents.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to his toy store.
Yeah, I'm going to do my own shit. Dad's not doing well or whatever.
Nope.
Wow. So that's got to be kind of, is it scary or does it just get so repetitive that you're like, oh, this is probably the same thing, you know?
Still scary. No, to me it's scary because one, I'm a parent, and so it always sinks in like, don't want to lose your kid, but then you always want to slap him in the back of the fucking head like, dude, pay attention to your kid.
Yeah.
You know? So
100%.
But, you know, the worst ones is during like the Black Friday, like the holiday seasons, because it's not like one kid. It's multiple kids that are missing. And it's like they're not even missing. It's just so crowded, you're not paying attention.
And do you have to do an intercom thing then or no?
Oh, yeah.
What do you do? What do you say then?
You're just getting over the line. If the parents of Jacob or there's a lost kid, he looks like this. And if you go over a PA system, within a minute, you know, a lot of parents will start perking up, you know, like if you have a human heart, you start perking up and looking around, just kind of check your surroundings. And we usually get the call like, oh, he's over here playing with fucking toys, you know, and you're just like, oh, let me go get Jacob.
Yeah.
So
the food court, what's going on there, man?
Food courts.
You missed it?
Yeah. I missed the OG food courts, like Sabaro's. Sabaro's pizza was so good. Love it.
It was good and horrible. But it was a lot of people's first taste of Italian.
It was.
Bring it up. Bring up Sabaro's.
Sabaro's was good, man.
They had a lot of bread added. That's what I like about it. I feel like it was hella bready. I mean, it's pizza, but still.
Yeah.
But God, yeah, Zabar. You're right, dude. What the fuck am I talking about?
Zabar's
was so damn good, dude.
So good.
And also, you didn't know at that age, you didn't know what was good or wasn't.
Mm-mm.
Get the second, no. Yeah, get that one. Right there. That's the one I went to. God, it looks good.
Right? I can just smell Sabaro's.
Sabaro's, dude.
And I loved it too. Cause you,
I love Sabaro's.
I love mall food because you don't have to wait long. It was just like, what do you need? What do you want? And then you just go down this little jail line and you're just like, bam, 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 pay, and you're out.
And would you guys eat at eat there every day usually?
Pretty much, yeah. Especially because once you make friends with everybody, you're getting discounts and you're getting hooked up, and because you're not telling on them because they're doing shit in the parking lot. So, you know, yeah, we ate there a lot. It gained a lot of weight eating.
Did you?
There. Oh, yeah. Especially when we had a Rubio's pop up at one of my malls, and I thought that was like, okay, I'm going to start eating fresh and eating better. Fuck no. Tortillas all day. It was great.
Fuck yeah.
Rubio's in the mall's good.
Yeah, Rubio's was pretty good, man.
They took out they used to have a McDonald's in my mall, and I know it's weird to say,
Kind of frowned on.
It's like, why would you take out the McDonald's? And it's like, because everyone would go strictly to McDonald's. Because if you put a McDonald's in the mall, it's just like, you know, like moths to a flame. You're
But
like,
doesn't that help? Because then at least the malls are around the freaking other stores.
Yeah, but I guess McDonald's just takes all the business from all the food court places. You know?
Oh,
because it's food court. If you're with kids, it's always up to the kid where you're going. You know, and they're like McDonald's. You know, it's like
right. Kids will always say McDonald's.
Fuck yeah, especially if they're at the playground.
Yeah. And Miss Fields, did they have that?
Oh, Mrs. Fields.
They had the cookie cakes. Remember those? Those are fucking good. My mom would always get those for us for our birthdays.
Oh man,
dude, bring that cookie.
Yes. So.
Those were
speaking of Miss Fields, in my day, we actually used to get these cookies after they would close because a lot of these places they can't like sell the shit the next day or it's like goes bad or whatever. I've eaten probably 100 of those fucking birthday cookies in my life.
Big one?
Yeah, taking them home, cut them all up, hand out to friends and shit. Yeah, I've showed up to like friends' houses with fucking 3 or 4 of these cookies. Like, is it your birthday? I'm like, nope, Mrs. Fields was closing. You know?
You have 2 cakes that say happy birthday Chad on them. You're like, who the fuck is Chad?
Who gives a shit but happy birthday Chad?
What mall store had the dumbest employees?
Oh, shit.
Or what mall store was just like, what mall store was whatever? It was just like, what are we eating?
What is it? FYI?
Is that a store?
FYE.
FYE.
DVD store.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a weird thing. It's like, what was that?
It was like it was like all the
sense.
fake. Yeah, it was like all the fake movie buffs worked there. Like all like it was just a weird store. Like they had the weirdest employees there, and no disrespect to them, but you guys were weird.
It seems weird though,
because it's like you wanted to work at Hot Topic, but you weren't cool enough to work at Hot Topic. You wanted to work at like
the movie
Music
theater.
Trader or even the movie theater, and you weren't cool enough to be like. And this was like, all right, fuck it, here work at FYE. This is like the leftover shit.
Yeah,
but to be fair, FYE had a lot of good finds. Like you could find like the most random ass shit there. You know, like
respect.
Like a Scarface porn. You're like, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, that's respectable. What store had the hot chicks? What store had chicks in it usually?
The Victoria's Secrets, Abercrombie. When Abercrombie and Fitch came out, I did not go into that store for almost the first year. Like even like as an employee working at the mall, and they would tell you to go do wellness checks on your stores, I would not go in Abercrombie and Fitch.
Why?
I didn't fit in the clothes. It's just one of those things, man.
Oh yeah, it was only for attractive people.
Yeah, and I was
like
not,
models. Like
yeah,
it was for models, dude.
Yeah, so I did not walk in there. And the one time I did walk in, I was like, so this is where all the women are at. Gotcha. But Abercrombie and Fitch was just a little intimidating, you know, for myself.
It was.
I was a Miller's Outpost guy, like I said. You know?
That. Well, Abercrombie and Fitch too, dude. They and they'd have like naked children on horseback. Remember when they came out with all those photos and shit?
I thought that was J. Crew that did that.
I don't know who it was.
J. Crew was one of those stores too.
You just like, am I a pedophile or am I a medium? You know, like you just couldn't even. Nothing made any sense in those places, dude. That was the weird part.
Yeah, you felt weird. Oh yeah, look at it. Yeah, straight. And they would have and sometimes they would have live models standing out there, like, come on in. Yeah. That was weird.
I worked at one for a little while. I worked in the back, though. Back with the sloths. Back there ringing the bell for or whatever, you know, ringing the church bell or whatever.
It's lunchtime, y'all. Let's go. Get your six-packs.
Back in the steam room.
Yeah. Fuck.
They would let me out sometimes to wash people's 6-packs in the front.
I had to oil them sometimes.
Oh.
But with the spray, I didn't have to do the towel thing. It was just like, you know?
Bet, dude. Bet. What were the best things about being a mall cop?
Oops. The leniency of not having like a boss hanging over your head sometimes, because with having the badge, you were able to go places and nobody would fucking question you. And flat out, I'm a pothead. So the best thing about being a mall cop, and I think why I stayed there so long, was because I had so many hiding places. I had so many like resources for free food. People watching was great. You know, it was just like those small things, but the majority of it was just not having somebody breathing down your neck 24/7, because you were like your own boss. You know, a lot of mall cops a lot of mall security, it'd only be like 1 or 2 guys. You know, 4 at the most if it was like a busy mall. It's like 1 or 2 guys. And the one guy that's walking around
in the platoon or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's just like, I'm just by myself, you know? And that's always good. And it's just always good. Until somebody makes a call of a lost kid or some shit, and you're like, I gotta go.
Would you be high a lot of times?
Most of the time. And if any security guard If any fucking security guard at a mall says that they weren't stoned or not stoned or doesn't have a pin in their pocket, now you're not a real security guard. Yeah. You're not. Oh yeah, security is stoned 24/7. I will never hide that fact.
But wow, that had to be so scary. You get a call for a missing kid, and then like 30 seconds later, you forget what you're looking for, and you just buy a Aunt Annie's pretzel or whatever.
Oh shit!
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You're like, what? And the mom's like, "Have you found him?" You're like,
Who? You know, like, I don't. I'll admit it. Okay, so I'll admit one time. Yeah, I was getting really high in the parking lot, and a call comes over that a boyfriend had shown up to one of the stores, and the girl had already called the cops, already told the managers, so we were aware of this boyfriend that was being abusive. So I get the call.
mm-hmm.
Hey, Gus, girl's boyfriend's back, this and that. Can you head towards the store? I 100% was like confident that I was going to make this call. I was like, yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm going to be there right now. I'm on my way. I'm actually walking, but I was in the parking lot smoking. I put my radio down. I go back to my phone. I go back to the blunt that's lit, and I start scrolling through my phone, thinking, all right, let me just hit this a couple more times and I'll get out of here. About 10 minutes later, a call comes, says, hey, the police are coming now. The guy hit the girl. And I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, fuck. I fucked up. So I'm putting it out. I'm fucking putting the sanitizer on, fucking cologne and everything, deodorant. And I'm fucking running towards the thing. And the first thing I do, Theo, I can't make this up. I looked around. Nobody was watching. I had these little scissors I had this like little knife, but it had the scissors in it. I took the scissors and I cut my pants. And I took dirt and I went like this and I came up limping. I'm like, where were you? I'm like, I fucking fell and I tripped and I rolled my ankle and I was calling you guys, but nobody was fucking answering me. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Totally lied that I rolled my ankle and fell. It's because this girl got hit by her boyfriend.
Damn.
Yeah. To this day, I'm sorry.
Nah.
To this day, I feel bad.
I mean, yeah, you should have been there.
Should have been there. Should have ran to the thing, but I didn't think that was going to happen. But then
No, you didn't. That's not true. You were high. You didn't fucking. I guess you didn't think it was. Yeah, you didn't think it was serious.
I didn't think he was going to go in and hit her.
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
Because it was like the stories where he was just coming up and yelling at her for like rent money or whatever the fuck he was asking. Because he kept asking for money.
Yeah.
But I didn't think he was going to hit her. But the story went and she got in his face and they started doing this and bumping each other. And he had pushed her and like hit her or something. I was like, oh, fuck, I would have been there for that. I would have so been there for that. But instead, I was watching fucking videos.
Can't win them all, man.
Nah.
You know, and I bet there was a lot of ones that you won. Gus Parsons, mall cop, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for keeping things secure. Always. And yeah, man, thanks for spending your time with us today.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you've done for me, man. I can't thank you guys enough. You know?
Oh, yeah, it's been a blast, man. Thank you so much.
Now I'm just floating on the breeze, and I feel I'm falling like these leaves. I must be cornerstone. Oh, but when I reach that ground, I'll share this peace of mind I found. I can feel it in my bones, but it's gonna take.
Today's guest is a certified death man. He is he's that Sherpa that helps you through that last step into the final frontier. Today's guest is here to talk everything we don't know about death and being dead. We are here today with Frank Giles. Thank you for being here, man.
You're quite welcome. It's an honor.
Well, it's nice to have you in here, man. It's nice to have somebody that's really that concierge kind of for the dark arts. You're really right there. I mean, you're that last. You're kind of the bellhop for the devil or for God, really.
That's right. That's one way to look at it. You know, we're checking your reservation. We're going to get you there one way or the other.
Yeah. I got to ask you this. Take me through the process of when you guys get a body.
Okay. The first thing that happens is normally a phone call. And that phone call, most of the time, is going to come from either a hospice nurse, a nurse at a hospital, nursing home, or either maybe even the county coroner. And they're going to call and they're going to say, you know, we've had a patient expire, or we've got a client in need of your services. And they're going to say something like that. And then we're going to go through and get some information such as, you know, their name, where they're located, who the next of kin is, and just some short information. And then the next thing that happens is we've got to receive that body into our care. So it doesn't matter if it's at a house or a hospital or a, you know, nursing home, wherever that person dies, we've got to go.
You have to go to that locale.
We've got to go to that location. And most of the time, see, I'm in a small community in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. We don't have people that, you know, take bodies to the morgue, and we don't pick them up in the morning. When they call us, we're rolling that immediately.
Oh, it's a one-stop shop over there with you guys.
That's right. So if you call us at 2:00 in the morning, we've got an answering service that answers our phone at night. And so they're going to take down all the information, and then they're going to call us. We're going to wake up, you know, from dead sleep. We're going to put our suits on. We're going to go to the funeral home, get the hearse, and then we're rolling to the location.
Now, when you go to that locale, do you show up? Do you go by yourself, or you take a sidekick?
No, we always take two people. Because in the words of Forrest Gump, you know, when you go to a house call especially, you don't ever know what you're going to get. I mean, somebody could be dead in a bed, or they could have died on the toilet like Elvis. Wow. I mean, you really don't know.
And you got to go in there.
That's right. We've got to bring that person out of that house, no matter where they've died in the house, whether it be the attic, the basement, the bathroom, the bedroom, whether they be 100 pounds, whether they be 500 pounds. You know, we've got to get that person, and we've got to bring them out of the house into the funeral home.
Have you ever had to call for backup? You know, you show up and they got somebody, they're real girthed out. You know, somebody's real, just fully just, you know, just a real big dog or a big lady.
Most of the time, they will tell us that ahead of time. You know, somebody will try to give us a heads up and say, you might need to bring some extra help or whatever.
You might want to bring somebody from the gym.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You know, but I've taken as many as 4 or 5 people out to one house, you know, to get a body, or, you know, to a hospital, you know, to make sure that we can get the body back.
And how do you guys just like everybody, like on the count of 3, let's lift, like that kind of deal? Or are the bodies hard when you get there, or are they still soft?
It depends on how long they've been dead. Sometimes they're still warm. They're still soft and warm. Sometimes they've already gone into rigor mortis, and that's where they kind of stiffen up. But, you know, in the funeral industry, one of the things that you will use more than most is a clean white sheet. You know, when we go, we'll take a white sheet, and it doesn't have to be white, but any type of sheet, we'll roll it under them and everything, get a sheet under them so we can lift up on the sheet. You know, we've got other devices that are designed to do that have handles. So if you've got a large person that, you know, that are rated for, you know, 500 to 1,000 pounds and everything, so that you can, because that's the thing about a deceased person is they are what's considered dead weight.
Wow.
And so, but if you've got something with handles that you can use, it makes lifting it a whole lot easier.
Okay, so sometimes if it's a real big dog or a real big gal, you got to really get that tarp under them or something real sturdy.
That's right. You've got to get some type of body mover under them so that you can lift them up and get them to your mortuary cot.
And what's the biggest person you think you've ever retrieved out there?
Probably just under 600 pounds.
Man, that's big, huh?
That is big.
And so you get the body now in a larger city. They'll go to the coroner first, or what is that? What is the coroner?
Well, the coroner, depending upon the county and the situation, like for instance, in our county, the coroner responds if someone isn't under hospice care or isn't under doctor's care, and then he responds. And so, for instance, like if we walked in and just found you dead here today, then they would call, and the police would come and the coroner would come and they would do a death investigation. And if they decided that it was no foul play, there's no need for an autopsy, then they're going to call us and we're going to come get you.
So everybody doesn't get autopsied?
No. No. And it all depends upon your area. One thing that most people don't realize with funeral homes and some of the laws and things is they are very state by state, and even in the state, sometimes regional, as far as funeral customs. And like in a bigger city, there are going to be a lot more autopsies, whereas, where I am, there's very few autopsies.
Wow. So it's just direct to you. It's direct to
Right.
It's farm to table, really.
Exactly, because in Christian County, we don't have a medical examiner. A medical examiner is the actual person, is the pathologist that does the autopsies.
Okay.
There's one in Madisonville, Kentucky, that covers the whole western part of the state of Kentucky. So there's one for like a third of the state. So, they can't send everybody to him. Otherwise, he'd be overworked.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it's just, heart attack or, they'll go through, they'll ask the family, did he have any heart conditions? What was his medical history? And then, they'll make their judgment based on that.
So if you had to kill somebody, right? If I'm a killer.
All right, you're a killer.
And do I want to kill in a particular type of county that may be more rural?
That would probably be a better way to get away with it in a smaller community, because that way, they don't have all the necessarily resources.
Have you ever rolled up on a body and they're like, yeah, they just died naturally, and you kind of felt like they didn't, but it's not really your responsibility?
No, not really. We've got good professionals that they do their job and everything else. Now, one time I did roll up on a suicide, and they had worked it and everything else.
And how'd they do it?
They said
rope or gun. I mean,
no, it was self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. It was everything.
From the bottom or from the side.
I can't remember. But the thing about it was, they had, when they'd gone through and cleared the scene, when I went over there to start my part, I called one of the deputies back in and I said, do y'all want this gun for evidence? Or, because it was still right there.
Oh, wow.
They just left the gun there, and it's like, okay, before I touch anything and contaminate this scene, what's happening here? And they're like, oh, we forgot to move that. Yeah, I believe you did. Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Things get a little shoddy out there.
Yeah, occasionally, I guess it was the night shift,
Oh, yeah, man, the night shift. That's like when you go to like a Hampton Inn or something and they got that night manager. It's barely somebody that's even alive sometimes, Dude, they had a blind. I was in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is probably 12 years ago. And they had a blind man working as a night manager, man. And he just looked trapped back there. I felt like somebody I don't even know if he knew where he was, but you hit that bell and he'd come out there, So night manager can be anybody. What about this? So now you get the body, okay?
All right.
So take us from there. Once you get that body, then what happens? What do you do with it?
Okay, so when we get the body back to the funeral home.
Oh, yeah.
If the body is going to be embalmed, then we go ahead and we start the embalming process.
Immediately?
Immediately. If it's 2:00 in the morning, we're going to start embalming.
Damn.
Because the thing about our business is you don't know when the next person's going to die. You might go an entire day and not get anybody. But then the next day you might get 4 back to back.
How often do people die?
Well, for instance, at our current location, we'll do about 125 funerals a year.
Okay.
Out of one facility. And then I've got another facility that's going to do about 120 calls a year. So,
what's the most dyingest time of year? When do people tend to really just say, all right, I'm going to die. I'm dying.
Normally your first quarter, January, February, March.
Ooh, why?
Cold, stress, the holidays are over. Because, I believe that, somebody can have the will to live, and in the end, they've got Thanksgiving, they've got Christmas, they're waiting, the family's coming in at Christmas, the family's coming in at Thanksgiving, but then in January, they're like, we won't see them again for another year. Or maybe they'll come in at the summer and get depressed, and
Say, fuck, hell with it, I'm out.
And once you get depressed, you kind of just, how it was back when everybody was under quarantine and you couldn't see your friends and everything else.
Oh yeah,
everybody got depressed.
Oh, you couldn't even tickle anybody. I remember that.
That's right.
They tried to take a guy to jail for tickling somebody in Pennsylvania. So yeah, stuff just haywire, man. So people will hold out for the holidays, hold out for that time with the family. Once the Super Bowl's over, though, people are like, "Oh, F it, I'm dead."
That's right. Normally in the funeral business, if it's your first quarter and your last quarter are your two busiest times.
Okay. And so what you get that body, you pick that sucker up. How do you know if they're going balm or if they're going dust?
Because we're going to talk to the family. Most of the time, we'll talk to the family either by the family's there where the body is, if it's at the nursing home or if it's at their home, the family's there, and we'll have a interaction with the family and go ahead and talk to them about some preliminary things.
Oh, hell
get permission to do the embalming, and then we'll go back. And sometimes they might say, well, no, he wants to be cremated, or we're going to do this, and so we want it done different. But once we get permission, we're going back to the funeral home and we're going to start that embalming process.
Now, if they go cream, right? How do y'all do it? Y'all do stove? Y'all do not barbecue, but like luau style? How do y'all do it?
No, it's more of the crematory has this chamber that you put the body in, and that's how the body's cremated.
And is it briquettes or wood? Like, what is in there? Do you know?
No, it's gas.
Oh, damn.
Because it has to be it's preheated to about 1,400 degrees before the body goes in.
And do you put the body in there?
No, I've got somebody else that does that.
Okay. And is that a trustworthy person usually? That person
Yes.
to me seems shady.
Yeah, no, that's a very trustworthy person.
Wow. Because I just can't. I mean, and how long does it take to really grill somebody down?
Most of the time, it depends upon the size of the person and how new the crematory is.
Like a grandparent, though, how much you think?
Oh, you're probably a little over an hour.
Damn. And what about what about that 600-pounder?
Now, see, that's different because you think of somebody that's 600 pounds and the fat that's on them.
Oh, yeah.
That becomes a controlled grease fire. So the crematories have weight limits on them. So some crematories can only do 500 pounds. Some of them can only do like 700 pounds. Some of them are rated for 1,000. And so you have to make sure that you don't get somebody too large for that crematory, because otherwise you can have a major problem. One of my friends who had a crematory, he was cremating somebody and he didn't realize that they were as obese as they were, and so he had a grease fire going. You couldn't tell it from inside, but the crematory was smoking, and they're not supposed to smoke because the afterburner is supposed to be burning off all that smoke. Well, he was in downtown in a city and rolling black smoke. He gets a call from the funeral home.
And what, he just set it to cook and left? He just like a
no,
crock
he was sitting inside the building with the crematory.
Oh.
And so he was sitting in there,
But he didn't notice.
And he couldn't see all the smoke outside.
And he gets a call from probably a Native American, I guess, saying, hey, man, look, y'all got some rough signals rolling, huh?
But the funeral home was actually across the street from the crematory, and somebody from the funeral home called and said, "What's going on over there? You're rolling a lot of smoke." Well, about the same time that they called, the fire department showed up.
And the fire department had to come?
The fire department came because there was all this smoke. And it wasn't anything that needed the fire department, but they just showed up.
Wow.
So needless to say, he learned a lot that day.
Dang, so because the body, it's just like having, my sister sometimes, her and her husband will make cracklings, They'll make cracklings in the yard, and they'll cut up all the fat and put it in this big open thing. And somebody's got to be right there with like a boat oar, just kind of hitting it every now and then. Once they put the body in the into the crematorium, into the furnace, do they kind of hit it with a thing every now and then, or they just, it's one time, it's kind of just start and close the door.
No, it's kind of start and close the door, and then of course they'll run it through, to grind up the bones and everything that don't burn down.
So there's a grinder in there too.
Well, no, the grinder's after they pull the cremains out.
Okay, so you put that body in, you grill them down, And can you do well done? Can you do rare? Or it's just one?
No, it's just one setting.
Okay. Damn, one setting.
You can't get a medium rare person.
Yeah, that's what I would go. Something a little bit more, ceviche or something.
Not quite so fine.
Yeah. I want to be a little grainy, So once they get that bone and everything else burns down,
they take, and what doesn't burn down, they run through that kind of grinder, and to where they can make it real fine.
Okay.
And depending on what crematory you use and what kind of grinder they've got, some cremains are finer than others.
Really? Uh-huh. So who's more of a finer cremain? Like, what are you talking about? Like a Japanese guy?
No, it's just, because a lot of times there's companies that own these crematories, so that you don't have, so every funeral home doesn't have to own one. There's like a third party guy that has this crematory, and you take your body there, and they'll do it for you. And so some of those guys, if they have newer stuff, it might be finer than the older,
if they're running that push mower.
Yeah,
totally, man. Yeah. Every now and then you got somebody who just, they haven't sharpened the silverware in a while.
Exactly.
Like, damn, what are y'all cremating this thing with, spoons?
One thing about the cremation process that you'll find interesting.
Yeah.
If somebody has a pacemaker, that has to be removed before cremation, because that battery will explode.
No.
And and if that battery explodes, it can actually ruin the chamber that they use for the cremation.
Wow. It's like when some asshole would throw a can of WD-40 in a ditch fire when I was growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's out there.
Or that can of hairspray.
Yeah.
That white rain.
Somebody whip a can of white rain in that fucking fire, bro.
That projectile's coming at you.
Yeah, dude, somebody's going down, man. That's when you just let the Lord work, man. That was kind of like a rural version of Russian roulette, man. Everybody's out there. Somebody's cooking a wiener. A couple kids are just running, just jumping through the fire. This little evil Knievels. And then some a-hole just flips a can of Aquanet into that bastard.
That's right.
And somebody's, it's just pure luck from there on out. Okay, so if those are the body, you have any questions, Sean, that came up?
We got one from Melissa about embalming.
Hey Theo, this is Melissa calling from Jacksonville, Florida. I have a question for the Mortician. The question is, have you ever had a customer request you to embalm them when they were alive? Gang, gang.
Gang, baby. Beautiful young lady asking these death questions right here. And have you ever had anybody just want to, get a little hit of it?
No, I have not, because, I could imagine that would be quite painful if you were still living.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, one of the things that we do is we wire their mouth shut. And, once you start, I would imagine that would hurt. And when we make our incision and start injecting the fluid, I imagine once we hit you with that fluid, it's going to burn.
So say a living person even just took a couple grams or a couple, 20 milliliters in the arm or something. I mean, would it kill somebody, you think?
I would venture to say if you were injecting it into your artery, it probably would.
Wow. What's in it?
Well, there's a lot of different things in it. There's formaldehyde, glutaraldehyde, perfuming agents, water conditioning agents. And so, but the bulk of them are formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde. And so and as a matter of fact, this is a bottle of arterial solution.
Really?
So this has got your formaldehyde in it and your glutaraldehyde in it.
That's that death gravy, huh?
That's right.
Hey,
this one's called Chromatec Pink.
Ooh.
Made by Dodge Chemical Company.
And who goes pink? Do different people go a different color? That might be for a lady?
Sometimes you mix the colors, but most of the time you can use Chromatec Pink on a man, on a woman. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I want something a little more gray or something
well,
blue.
We've got some suntan dyes and stuff that we can put in there, can kind of make you a little darker,
really?
Something like that. So you've got some dyes that you can put some stuff in there. And then, of course, the cosmetics that you use can also make it to where if you want, if you want to look like that bronzer look, like you've been laying out, you just came back from Florida or whatever.
Yeah. That one last tan, huh?
That's right. That final tan.
I love that, man.
We hook you up.
So you got a couple items here. You got that Chromatech pink, and so that's just that big sip. You put it right into somebody, right? How many bottles of that you throw into somebody?
Well, normally about 2.
That's it?
Because we'll mix this up. We'll mix this with some other fluids that we have, such as a water conditioner, another fluid that's called ProFlow that's kind of like a vein conditioner and an artery conditioner, and we'll mix all that in about 2.5 gallons of total solution. And so it's about 2.5 gallons of solution that we put in the average body.
Okay.
And so what we do is we put that and inject that with an embalming machine through the artery. And at the same time, it's pushing the blood and stuff out the vein.
Okay, so you don't drain the body first.
No, it's a simultaneous process.
Okay, so where do you put the entry and where do you put the outry?
Well, different embalmers use different locations.
Where do you go?
I normally go
I won't tell anybody.
I normally go to the femoral down here on the leg.
Okay.
Because that way,
Big Daddy getting wild.
Because that
there,
way,
man.
if it's a lady and she's got a low cut garment, if she's going to show a little, cleavage at her visitation and funeral.
I don't blame them.
You can do that.
If you still got them.
Exactly. If you paid for them, and they're still sticking up and you want to show it, that's fine. But, you've got, so I normally go down here to the femoral and I'll inject in the artery and drain through the vein.
So you'll do it in and out the same area, same locale.
Yep. Because as you're injecting, it's going to go all the way through, through all the arteries and stuff back to the heart, and then come back out the veins.
So you run in 2.5 gallons. You said about
normally about 2.5 gallons for the average person.
And you'll flush out how much? Same.
Yeah, you'll flush out the same, and now it won't be all blood. You get about, probably about 75-80% of all the blood out. Some of the blood's still in the body.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll get out that much. So.
Wow. Damn, boy, you rocking right there on the cusp, dog. That's wild. Do you ever need a couple drinks to get through it?
No. One thing about it, I very seldom drink. As far as drink alcohol. But
yeah.
But a lot of people in the business do, and it's just all in your mindset. This business isn't cut out for everybody. Because you think about it, and in the one of the most popular scriptures that's used in the funeral business or in the funerals is the 23rd Psalm, and it talks about walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Well, the shadow of death's where I live. That's basically where I live, because somebody's dying, and that's where I'm pretty much staying. So.
Oh, you out there Voldemorting, man? You milling around.
That's right. That's right. I'm just waiting on the next one.
Do you ever see people around town and you're like, oh, I'll probably get a call on this one in a week?
Oh, not normally, because most of the time those people are in the nursing homes. But you never know.
You ever run a pool with the people at work?
No, we don't have. As far as when somebody's going to die, no, because that's just bad juju. Something like that, and then that, and then a little puncture wound about the size of my pinky. That's about normal. Whereas when you get somebody who's been autopsied, that's when you see that big Y incision that you see on the TV all the time, and you have to treat. There's a lot more work to that, because you can't just inject one site, because they removed all the viscera. So
you'll put it in, and it'll start flowing out in the middle.
So you have to inject down each leg and the arms, and you have to inject the carotids up the head.
And how do you if there's a leak, what do you do? Put a chip clip or something? Like, what do you do? Just
if there's a leak while you're like in the vessels, while you're doing it, you'll put a clip on it.
Okay.
But then what you do is you have to take, like, for instance, in a full autopsy, they remove your brain.
Damn, who does?
the pathologist.
Oh my God.
And so when they do all that,
Asshole.
when they remove your brain and all your organs and everything else, they come back to us and they're in the cavity, but they're in just a biohazard bag.
Oh, kind of like when you get that turkey at the holidays, huh?
Yeah, kind of like that.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they take all the stuff out and put it back in a little sack.
Yeah. I guess you could relate it to that.
Dang.
And so, like, we have to go back and we have to make sure that the head doesn't leak and that we can, and then we have to sew that back up because they don't sew it back up. Because, they'll take and they'll cut you from behind the ear to behind the ear.
Oh.
And then it's like one of these deals where you can flip it forward to where your hair is actually on your nose.
Oh, wow.
And then that's how we have to get back in there to make sure that all those vessels are going to be to where it doesn't leak and it doesn't leak on the casket, while we're having the visitation or the funeral.
So you get the body, right? And wait, what happens to before I forget this, what about like a man's penis, right? Oh, do a lot of people die holding their penis, I feel like?
No.
You know what I'm talking about, though? Like, I'll notice if I'm falling asleep, sometimes I'll wake up and I'm just holding my penis for no reason. I think it's just a natural thing. It's just, this is my penis and I'm holding it, kind of. But when you find a lot of bodies, are they doing it holding a certain part of their body? Or do some people just like do like this, like they're ready to die, so they know they're dying? Is there any type of thing you notice, like a jet, like something, like a peace out? Is there anything people are doing?
No, normally they're just, it's just wherever their hands fall. And,
Like
so a lot of times it's just, if they're down beside them or if they're right there,
somebody will die like that.
Yeah,
Huh?
sometimes they've got them like that because they start to, put them in that. Sometimes they start putting them in that position, but at the nursing home or whatever.
Have you ever gone to a home where they adjusted the body after it had died for some reason? Like they didn't want it to be a certain place, or and you were like, you didn't really ask them questions, but you're like, yeah, I know this guy wasn't just sitting out here in this rocking chair,
Oh, no, because most of the time the people, aren't going to do a whole lot to the body.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that, you think?
Because there's a lot about death that people don't understand, and there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable around it, and they're just uncomfortable with, the whole death and dying process because they aren't as exposed to it as they used to be.
Yeah.
Because back in the old days where the funeral director or the embalmer would come to the house and he would embalm the body at the house.
No.
Yes, he had.
Wow.
He had what was called a cooling board because that was back when they would have like an embalmer and a funeral director, but he wouldn't. That was back before funeral homes, so he didn't take them back there. You did everything at the house or took the body to the church.
Dang.
But most of the time
they
did
Postmates or something.
They
like
did
post-mortem.
They did the embalming right there at the house.
Dang.
And so, for instance, I've got an old glass bottle that was found. Somebody found it when they were cleaning up around an old house. And what it is it's an old glass fluid bottle. And when they embalmed the body, they threw the glass bottle out the door, and it got covered up. And so when they were tearing down this house, they found it, and somebody brought it to me.
Dang.
Because used to they'd embalm the bodies at the house. They'd come out, they'd bring what was called a cooling board, and they'd set that up, and then they'd put the body on the cooling board. And back then, because they were doing it that way, they'd inject and drain right here in the arm, so that way they could just hang the arm off the side, and then the blood would just drip down into the
ground.
Well, most of the time they were doing this like in your house, so it would drip down into whatever bucket or whatever reservoir that they had to catch it.
And when was this up until? Do you know?
That was back until probably, probably back in the 40s.
Wow.
And
the cooling board, what was that? Was it ice? It had ice in it, or how did it?
No, it was just what it was called. That's just what it was called. It was just like, it was more rustic than a fold-out massage table.
Okay.
You know, that would be kind of what you think about it today is they would come up with that table and they would fold it out and put the body on it, and then they'd take that back with them.
When you go to pick up a body in the middle of the night, do you knock or do you ring the bell? Or people are usually standing outside?
Sometimes I'll knock. Sometimes if I can see them in there, I'll just walk right on in the house. And, you know, because I'm in kind of a small area, and a lot of times I'll know the family or know some family member, and so I'll just walk, or sometimes I'll knock as I'm entering because, you know, they're sitting there waiting on you.
Oh. So, Frank, you get the body, right? What happens when you get the body after you do the fluiding?
All right.
The fluid's out. You got the fluid. And what do y'all do with the blood that comes out?
You really want us to answer that question?
Yeah.
It goes right down the drain.
No.
Yes. It goes right down the drain and right into the system, and you better hope that your water treatment guy's doing his job, because if not, the person down the river's getting it.
Dang. So you could get that A positive hit just on a damn...
Because, no, they treat it...
the tap.
Because during this process, we're always running water. And they've done tests, and they've said that with us running as much water as we do, that it's no difference from if you were to cut your finger and stick your finger under the tap water in your kitchen. It's no difference than that blood being diluted than when we embalm a body.
Then when y'all drop a couple gallons down there with the amount of water.
Because we're constantly running water when we're embalming, just to get the blood off the table and get it on down the drain. And then we're also bathing the person while we're doing the embalming, because that massage, you know, when you bathe them, helps circulate the fluid.
Now, you ever keep a little bit of blood, put it on the plants or anything like that? You ever know anybody did anything like that?
No. Why would you put blood on the plants?
Well, whenever I used to live up in Natchez, they used to have a man, they said, and he was I guess he worked with blood or something. He was like a blood man. And they said he would take some of the blood and put it on his house plants at home just for the vitamins and minerals, you know.
No, I've never heard of that. That's a new one on me.
Have they ever caught anybody in your industry doing something vile, or caught them, you know, somebody, you know, kind of skimming off the bottom there, you know, stealing blood, or, you know, copping femurs or something out of deceased or anything?
Now, there have been people in the industry, especially mainly like hospital attendants or something like that, who have, you know, gotten caught, you know, trying to sell body parts or something like that. But no reputable funeral person is trying to sell blood or, you know, bones or anything that's, you know, to any black market people.
There's no side hustle or anything.
No, there's no side hustle on that. There's for sure in Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Yeah. Now, tell me about this. So say you get the body, it's been embalmed. Now what do you have to do to it?
Okay. Well, the next process we would be waiting for would be the process of dressing, cosmetizing, casketing, and getting the body ready for the visitation.
Is that your responsibility?
Yes.
Okay.
Or that's part of my responsibilities.
Now, who sells the casket to them?
I do that as well.
No way.
Yeah. I'm one-stop shop.
Hey, man. You like the pop-a-lock of death.
That's right. That's right.
Now, is that a little bit of a tough vibe? Because, I mean, you know, like, you have to sell someone. You have to then do a real business, you know?
Right.
And you're dealing with, like, a human life.
Exactly. Most states, like, for instance, in Kentucky, you can be either a licensed funeral director, a licensed embalmer, or you can be both. So, for instance, I'm dual licensed. I have both licenses.
Okay, so you got both of them. So you're permitted to do it.
That's right.
And so you'll do it all the time. Then it's natural.
Right.
Now, what's that basic casket, man? That basic death box. What's that number one deal?
So now you talking about?
I'm talking basic, dog. Like you barely want to go to heaven. You know,
you barely want to go to heaven.
Yeah, I mean, like showing up to heaven on the Greyhound. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about just a seat. It ain't even a whole ride, baby.
You know, you're talking about a price on that.
Yeah, what's that?
You're gonna be talking about something like $9.95. You know,
so for under $1,000, you can get boxed up.
No, that's just for the box.
Okay, that's the box only. That's not the service.
Right.
Wow.
Because in 1985, the Federal Trade Commission came in and they said, you've got to have a charge for everything that you do. So, they said.
So there's no freebies in the death community.
Right. Wow. So they said, because used to pre-1985, a lot of times you went into the selection room and that's where all the caskets are out.
Oh, yeah.
And when you would go, you'd look at this casket and it'd have a price on it, and it was everything included.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they said, well, somebody might not want everything in there, so you have to itemize all your charges, and then you go from there. And so then they pick out all the services that they want. Then they have to add their casket to it, vault if they're using a vault, and then that's your funeral total.
Mm. And that vault, how is the vault really necessary, man, or is it better to just get, I want almost the gift wrapping. I want that low key,
Well, some cemeteries require vaults.
Okay.
Some states require vaults. It all depends. In Kentucky, the vault requirement is based on the cemetery.
Okay.
But a vault will do two things. It supports the weight of the earth off the casket, and it also keeps water and other elements and bugs and things from getting to the casket.
And how long does a casket last you?
Well, it depends upon the type of casket. For instance,
that $9.95, brother, how long is that going to get me?
Oh, it depends if, vault or no vault. If you're not getting it in the vault, it's not going to last very long.
Are we talking 8 months or something?
It's going to depend upon, a lot of it depends upon ground conditions, because you think
that soil.
Yeah, because if you're in a real wet area, that thing's going to be sitting in water, and water is not good for metal or wood and everything else, whereas it's going to last longer if you're in a drier area.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you go back to the ancient Egyptians, some of those bodies that were just buried in the desert where it was real dry, they lasted almost as long as those that were mummified.
Right. Whereas, you go to like a swampy area in Africa, or you go to Louisiana, man, that thing's just a little snack for the swamp.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah, let's hit a casket question here. What do we have here?
What up, Theo? What up, Nick? This is Daniel from Tucson. Now, I know Lil Boosie turned down the idea of getting into the casket making business, but I wanted to ask your mortician, what is the most outlandish or extravagant casket you've seen a customer walk out of your store with? Did that thing have some spinners on it? Mm-hmm. Was it a translucent waterbed hitter? I'd like to hear about it. Anyways, gang, gang.
Gang, bro. What'd they put in there? What's the most extravagant casket? You know what I'm saying? Something with some cat toys hanging from the ceiling, or you got something with a little hot tub at one end of it. What's the wildest thing you put somebody in?
Well,
be honest.
Well, most of the time, the people that are buying your real upscale caskets are going to buy either a bronze casket or a very fine hardwood, such as, a mahogany that might be, where that wood was imported from Africa. And then depending upon the finish work that goes into it, because, whether, it'd be flat top and, the finished parquet and everything else, that's a very expensive casket. And then also, they've got some that are 48-ounce bronze,
mm-hmm.
And kind of look like they almost look gold almost, and you can see like some of the celebrities have been buried in, some of those, like, I'm thinking of Michael Jackson and, I think, let's see, Whitney Houston, I think was in like a Millennium that Batesville makes. And so, some places will use that as a selling point, because the casket companies used to furnish a list basically every couple years of recent celebrities and what caskets that they used.
Really?
Uh-huh.
And what happened to that list, you think?
I think that, as things have come on, they've just quit publishing it. But, for instance, there's a company, it's now owned by Batesville Casket Company, but it used to be called Marcellus Casket Company. And they made the finest hardwood caskets in the world. And
oh yeah, amen.
And so what they would do is they would make these caskets, and one of them was called the President, and the other is called the President Carved Top. And the difference between them is the one that's the carved top, it has a lot of carvings on it, but JFK and a lot of those presidents were buried in those two different caskets, and so it was called the President Carved Top and the President. Now, when Ronald Reagan died, he was put in a Marcellus, and it was called the Masterpiece. And the reason they called that the Masterpiece was that
because it had barbecue sauce in it. I bet.
That casket was so big that it would not fit in a standard burial vault. And so, of course, Ronald Reagan was put in a mausoleum that was designed to where it would accommodate that casket. But, that's a little bit larger casket than your standard casket. And so, that's you see that. We sell some mahogany caskets. If we've got somebody that's going to spend a lot of money, most of the time they buy a mahogany casket.
Wow.
Because the look of mahogany, it looks really good.
Oh yeah.
And that's what.
Oh God.
That's what they want. They like that warmth and the beauty of the wood. Some people find metal, whether it be any type of metal, to be more cold rather than warm like woods. So.
And how pricey does that get? What's the priciest deal you guys have ever put in the ground, man?
Probably, somewhere over 50. Wow.
50K, huh? Man. And do people on average spend more money burying men or burying women?
Probably women, because a lot of times, the men will care less. But now, because they will say, because if you think about it, most people are thinking, well, of all the sacrifices Mama made and, what Mama did for you and everything else. And, Daddy always said, just put me in a pine box or throw me in the ditch or whatever. But Mama, this is Mama. Mama took care of your every need. We got to do a little bit better for Mama.
Yeah. Mama loved you. Yeah, we got to do something for Mama.
Mama and Jesus always loved you, Theo.
That's it. Yeah. Amen, man. So once you get the body, you got it embalmed. What other things do you have to do to the body to make it look presentable if you're going open casket?
Well, we do their cosmetics, and of course we'll dress them in the clothes that the family brings, and sometimes that's suit and tie, and sometimes that's overalls and flannel shirt, whatever the family wants.
Can you go full naked or not? Can you go nude if you want?
That'd be frowned upon, because that we wouldn't want to make some people feel bad, if they weren't, as well endowed, if you were full nude and, they'd be like, or it might make them feel better about themselves. I just really don't know.
It'd be interesting to get a look at that body fully nude at the end. I think it almost would make it a little bit more like, okay, they're part of life than they are like trying to make them still look alive.
But, you think about maybe more people have seen you fully nude and more would expect that. But most of the time, they want that image as close to how they can remember that person. So unless, America's used to seeing you fully nude, they probably would much rather see you with clothes on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, I think, and especially if y'all going to eat after.
Yeah, because, that's a big thing is, the meal after the funeral. Because, a lot of times either churches will host it or a family member will host it at their house.
And do you guys get invited to that or no?
Sometimes, and a lot of times we get invited, and if we're not really busy, then we'll go. But, sometimes, right after this funeral, we've got another one getting ready to start, so we don't have time to hit up all those meals.
And have you ever accidentally had the wrong body in a closed casket?
No. Because we have lots of procedures to make sure, that we don't do that.
Okay.
And then especially since, we're a smaller town, a lot of times we'll know the person. And so it'll be like, oh, and yeah, that's so-and-so, So
that's Randy.
That's Randy. So he goes in this casket. That's Theo. He goes in this casket.
Wow.
So
is there any Do you? So I don't forget about this. What else do you have to do to the body? You put the cosmetics. What about like the orifices and stuff? How do you make sure that there's no leaking coming out of the body, or there's no, something's not going to come out of someone's nose or eye?
Okay, now that goes back to the embalming process, because the majority of the time, as part of the embalming process, we do a treatment of the organs and the cavities, and that's where we use what's called a trocar.
Okay.
And we use that to puncture and suck out all the contents of the organs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So you have to suck out whatever's in the stomach and everything?
Right.
Wow. How does that go?
Okay, so you've got a trocar. Trocar is probably, about that long.
And what is it?
It's a metal tube, and you got a handle, and it's got a pointed end, and the way that it works is there's slots and holes in it, and it's hooked up to what's called a hydroaspirator. So water's running through that, creating a suction.
Okay.
And so what you'll do is you'll come 2 inches above and to the right of the navel, and you'll stick that in, and you'll just move it around.
And that's the stomach?
Uh-huh. Wow. You'll just move it around, and you're puncturing all the organs and sucking out their contents. Have you ever seen like liposuction on the Discovery Channel or whatever, how they're moving it around and everything else? It's kind of like liposuction.
And can you tell what have people eaten the most usually?
Most of the time you can't tell what foods it is because of the breakdown, but what you can tell is like, for instance, what organ you're hitting based on, what's the color of the fluid that's coming out of it.
You ever been able to tell a food?
No.
Never, not even like a Lucky Charms or anything?
Not that way. Now, sometimes, like if we've had somebody who's choked to death, you've seen the food, still, when you've cleaned out their mouth or whatever, you've seen the food still in there,
And how far down, if people choke to death, is the food pretty far down or it's kind of close, you think?
Well, it just depends, because a lot of times it's I would say it would be pretty far down, but then when they try to save them, some of that gets brought back up closer to the surface. But, if they were unsuccessful, and I've now got them in my possession, then, they were unsuccessful. Then...
Since you've seen and now what about the mouth and the eyes and stuff like that? Do you have to do anything to keep them from like just swinging open, or the ears?
Well, one of the first things that we do in the embalming process is we wire the mouth shut, and so we take and we put what's called it's a needle injector, or an injector needle, and we put one up here and one down here.
Dang.
And then we wire their mouth shut.
Thank God, man. Because I need it. A lot of these women need it, and I need it too.
And then a lot of times, to get that good mouth closure or whatever, you'll put a little piece of cotton in there to elevate, like a lip or something if it's drooping and everything else. Now, your eyes, we have what's called eye caps. And those look like contacts with ridges. And then we'll put those, under your eyelid and use that to help keep your eyes closed.
Oh, so you'll go eyes closed. Has anybody ever tried to open the person's eyes when they're deceased?
Not to my knowledge. Of course, a lot of times we'll come back and put a thin little bead of glue on there and the lips. So, they're also glued. That's an extra layer of protection.
Dang, I respect that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Extra layer of protection.
You don't want somebody peeping, at the funeral.
Yeah, you want somebody looking out.
Yeah.
Now, does anybody ever try to come in and see somebody after they've been dead for a little bit? After, anybody come knocking on the door, you guys are already running the hoses and everything, and they got somebody saying, I want to see them one more time?
Sometimes, like if you're, sometimes I think what you're talking about is like if somebody shows up before, we're done embalming and they want to see them, then we don't allow them to come into the prep room to see them.
Wow.
They'll have to wait till the public visitation, or
even if it's a buddy or something.
Yeah, even if it's a buddy.
Wow.
Because we take that very seriously. The family's privacy. So if when we have private family visitation,
oh yeah,
it's private family visitation. And, you don't get to see them. If you're just a buddy, you don't get to see them till that public time. I don't care, why you need to see them earlier. If the family's not going to give you permission, you'll see them, during the public visitation.
A friend of mine works in the death trade, and he's up in Oregon, and he said he worked in it about 20 years ago. He said somebody died one time in the town he was working in, and then while he was out at lunch, they came in and stabbed the guy a couple more times just to make sure he was dead.
Goodness.
Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, he must have not been well liked.
Yeah, he must have not been well liked.
Sounds like your friend should have locked the doors, too.
Yeah, I think he was smoking weed and stuff like that. How do you guys keep jovial when you're working around the dead like that?
It's just, it has to be in you, because you have to be able to separate the fact, that you're doing what you can for that family, because there's no greater honor for somebody to entrust their loved one to you, because you think about, this is their prized possession. This is their mother, their spouse, their child.
Oh, yeah.
And they've entrusted that to you. There's no greater honor than that, and you do what you can to, treat them with integrity. You treat everybody like it's, your family member and the way that you'd want to be treated. And so, we are very careful. We make sure, we've got, well, for one thing, you're not going to get in our facility unless we open the door for you, because the facility's locked, and during public visitation, we've got a greeter on all the doors and everything else. So we know who's coming in and out of the building. If it's somebody, before the
nobody's sneaking backstage.
Yeah, because the back areas are always locked and everything else, and so it's not easy to just sneak in there and do anything. So,
do you feel like you learn anything more about life, or do you feel like have your thoughts and feelings changed over the years working in the death trade?
I think you don't take it for granted, because that you can be here today and gone tomorrow. I could get killed in a car wreck going home. And, am I happy? Have I had a good life? Yes, I've had a good life.
We do good numbers on the episode if you did, though, too.
That's right.
Not to say that out loud, but.
That's right. Hey, if it can help you, that'd be all right. That'd be all right. I went out helping somebody else.
Amen, man. We got a question right here. What do we have here, Sean?
We've got a question from Nick.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Nick from Wisconsin. Got a heavy hitter for you. So over the course of your career, how has your attitudes and emotions towards death changed and evolved? Anyways, be good. Gang, gang.
Gang, baby. Yeah, do you find yourself getting more emotional as you get older with it? Is it hard because it just becomes also work? Like, it's tough when things just become work,
Right. It's the hardest part of our job is when we're dealing with children. And because, it's unnatural that a parent should have to bury a child. And, it's hard on that parent, whether the parent's 90 years old and their child's like 60 and dies. It's hard. It's even harder when somebody's 20 years old and, their 7-day baby dies. All that's hard, and you still grieve with them. But, the thing is, at this time, I have to be their rock. I have to be the person that, you come to me, I'm going to handle it. Whatever you need, I'm going to handle it. You put the weight of the world on my shoulders. That's what I'm here for.
Is there a moment where have there been times where you've just broken down? It's just been tough. I mean, there's got to be times.
There's times where it's been tough, and it's, and you'll just see it, and you just got to keep on going.
What are the toughest times, though?
I'll never forget. One time I had I just completed my apprenticeship, and I was fresh out of school, and I had a friend from high school who had taken his life, and I remember I got the call, and that was tough, because my cousin had dated him and everything else, and that was hard. Then,
why'd he do it? Do you remember?
No. Then fast forward later, I have, it's almost exactly a year later, another friend gets killed in a head-on collision. And then right after that, another friend dies with an enlarged heart that nobody knew he had.
Oh, yeah.
And so you can see that all those things play an influence on you. But you just have to keep on for the family. And, I'll take my time and I'll grieve later, but right now I have to be strong for that family.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm here for.
Has it adjusted your relationship with a higher power, with faith? Have things changed for you over the time, or what's that journey been like in dealing with the deceased?
I've always had a strong faith, but when you look at the human body and you look at everything that goes into it and how every system of the body works and everything else, that was laid out, that just didn't happen. And the fact that, we don't understand everything, but, there's a God that's there that does, and he knows. And we, there's times that we think that we would have had a better way, that we would have had a better plan, that it wouldn't have been good for this person to die. But we don't know. We've just got to wait till we get there, and maybe we'll understand it one day at a time, or, at the end. But, you just got to keep on going. You just got to, have trust and faith and go on.
Does it still feel like a human you're working with? Does it feel like just a carcass? Like what is kind of that feeling, because if I'm carrying a human body that's alive, that's one feeling. But if I'm carrying just a deceased human body, I'm wondering if that's a different feeling.
I think that anytime that there is a deceased versus a live person, there is that difference, yes. But the same thing at the same time, even though the deceased is not there, as far as what made them there, like the spirit, that body still deserves that respect, because that was the shell that either held that body for one day or 99 years or 100 years, so it's still all there, and it's still.
Have you seen any, kind of going in a different direction here, but is there anything like with COVID deaths? Have you seen more deaths or anything like that?
Not really, because, everything, the same number of people are basically still dying. It's just that, if they've had anything else but they've got COVID,
right?
They're saying, oh, it's a COVID,
Yeah.
The person might have had COVID, but they actually died from pneumonia. Well, instead of counting that death as attributing it to pneumonia, they're going to say, "Oh, COVID," or they might have actually died from cancer, but they also had COVID, so COVID.
Yeah, they COVID them up.
Yeah, so
people get COVID no matter everybody. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, they had this, but they also had COVID.
It's like, can somebody die? Can somebody still just die from natural causes, or does it all have to be COVID anymore?
Right.
And there's a lot of families right now that are very upset about that, and sometimes we'll go to a house or whatever, and they'll be like, he didn't die of COVID, she didn't have the COVID, make sure that they don't put COVID on the death certificate.
Really?
And it's like, well, the doctor's the one that fills that portion of the death certificate out, but we'll make sure to tell them that they didn't have COVID, because there's a lot of people who are so tired of hearing about it that that they want to make sure that their loved one isn't a statistic for something that they don't, that they don't necessarily, it's not that they don't believe in it, but they don't want them to just be a COVID statistic.
Yeah.
A talking point for somebody that they don't like.
Now, what about this? What's a wild thing somebody wants to have in there when they die? Somebody throw in a little can of Ruffles, or somebody put a couple Starbursts in there or something.
Okay, it's not uncommon. big thing, a lot of people will take cigarettes with them, because you take somebody who's smoked all
boy.
They'll put that, cigarettes in that shirt pocket.
You're going to want that smoke, dude. If I'm dead, bro, light me up a damn 100, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm burning a fucking Winston, dog. If I'm dead, man, I ain't milling around.
I've had, a lot of people put pictures of themselves,
And what about a joint? Somebody sneak a joint in there sometime.
I'm not going to say that that's never happened because, when we're standing back up there and the family goes up for their final viewing, there's no telling what they could stick in there. I've had some very interesting stuff. I had somebody request to be buried with their shotgun.
Amen.
So they took their shotgun with them. And so,
what about now? If somebody requests to be buried with an 8-ball, and I'm not talking bowling, I'm talking that cocaine, baby. Do you have to do that?
Well, the thing about it is, since that would be an illegal drug, we wouldn't be required to do that. But, if somebody were to bring that in and, stick it up under the foot of the casket, I don't keep a drug sniffing dog at the funeral home. So it might just go on through, it might just go with them.
It might go with them. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's one thing. There's no TSA when you flying up to heaven, man.
That's right. That's right. You're not going to be searched, so.
Now, what's the wildest thing somebody's put in there? Somebody ever put something that's a little too big in there? Somebody try to put a little chainsaw or a leaf blower or something if somebody died doing during a dangerous, leaf blowing or something, No,
I don't think they've had any power tools or anything like that. Sometimes you have like stuffed animals or whatever, even for like an older person, they'll bring like stuffed animals, they'll bring blankets sometimes. And, we've had, like fishing rods, stuff like that have gone with them. But, as far as, I've never put, I don't think any power tools in there, but
I'd go with a damn sander or something,
So what are you going to use that sander for?
Who knows? But but I'll tell you this: if you show up and you're the only dude with a sander, you're gonna be steady working.
That's right, but we're not supposed to work in the afterlife.
But I'm sure there's a couple opportunities to make a little.
You always want a side hustle, don't you?
Yeah. I want that side hustle. Now, do you take those items out, or those items go on?
The family it's the family's choice. If the family wants something in there for visitation and then they want that back, we'll take it out. But if they want it to go with them, it goes with them.
Now, you close the casket if it's an open casket, you guys close it during the procession or funeral deal?
It depends on when the family wants that closed.
Okay.
If they want it closed at the beginning of the service, some families like for everybody to file by at the end, one final viewing, and then after that, after the family goes up for their final viewing, then we close the casket. So a lot of times that's up to the family. And so.
And now, is it hard for you personally? Do you have trouble? Is it tough to meet women or something like that if you're working in the death trade, I could imagine it might be a little bit of or is it kind of a talking point,
Well, it's one of those things that, that they might be interested in, that they might have a few questions, but, it's not, I would not say that it's a chick magnet, that they're flocking towards the undertaker, because, the thing about it is, when that call comes in, I'm going on that call. So, if I'm on call, I'm going to be leaving at the middle of the night and everything else. And a lot of people, they get, they don't like that. They don't like that you're going to be gone for that. They don't like that you got to work on the weekends, at night, holidays, that you miss birthdays and everything else, because it's a big commitment, when you're working in the death care business, because it's 24/7.
Damn.
I mean, because I'll probably, since I've been involved in the funeral business, I've probably spent as many holidays at the funeral home as I have at my house.
Wow.
And
so it's 50-50 split, huh?
That's right. You just don't ever know. And, that's the last thing that, a girl wants, to be on the way to a nice dinner, then, I've got to go to the funeral home.
Damn.
And
now you ever bring a date over there with you to say this?
No, because then, I keep them pretty separate.
Yeah. Is it tough dating in a small town?
It depends, especially especially when you're in our business, because you get to know the families.
Oh, yeah.
And, because you're spending 3 or 4 days sometimes with the family in that, and you really get to know them. And sometimes you become like family to them, and sometimes you're like, whoo, stay away from them,
Sometimes you learn a little too much.
Yeah,
huh?
you learn a little too much, and so that makes you want to shy away from, some of them anyway. So,
do families, can somebody get buried with their money if they want to?
if they want to bring it in, they could get buried with it.
Have you ever had somebody that was their request and they put it in there?
Not all their money, I've had people, want to get buried, with, Granddaddy always wanted him, kept a $2 bill, or, he always had change in his pocket, didn't want to go anywhere without a little money. I've had that, but I've never had anybody say, we're going to put $1 million in this casket.
Yeah.
Because, then you get to the age-old question. If you put $1 million in there, let's say you put $1 million in there in cash,
mm-hmm.
and then if somebody were to take the cash and write you a check for it, you've still got $1 million. So nobody normally puts cash in there. They just
maybe we'll put a check.
Yeah. So I guess if you wanted to go with $1 million, we could write you a check for $1 million because you wouldn't be able to cash it.
Yeah. I'd rather send the check.
Yeah.
Just in case later you decide, dang, I wish I had that cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody ever puts $1 million or anything in there.
Damn.
So.
Have you noticed over time that people used to bury nice things with people, and now they just kind of bury whatever with them? You think has there been able to notice anything like that?
Most of the time people, if it's something of real value, they keep it and they pass it down in the family or whatever, especially jewelry and stuff like that. And of course now with, there's so much stuff that, people are using like costume jewelry and stuff like that people are wearing rather than buying, real expensive jewelry that they're doing that. And especially for your older people,
mm-hmm.
because as they get sometimes dementia and stuff like that, the family's already taken their good jewelry away from them so they don't lose it, because they don't want them to keep the good jewelry in the nursing home or stuff like that, and because they'll lose it or somebody will steal it or whatever. Now, I have had families bring in really nice jewelry for the visitation and the funeral, and then they want that back. And so.
Have you ever stolen anything from anybody?
No, sir. That'd be bad for business.
Yeah, it'd be bad for business, man. I didn't think you had, but I just had to ask you. We got any other questions that came in that are unique?
Yeah, Ross has another question about caskets.
Hey Theo, I'm out here in New York. Just a quick question for the mortician. Open casket or closed casket? Me personally, that open casket, if it was me, I'd feel a little disrespected. I'm not going to lie, But, no, that's it. Gang.
Gang, bro. How you go, man? How do you suggest? You got you've been around the way. You're really the Rex Ryan of death right here. So what do you say?
It depends upon how they look. I think that the family should be able to have an open casket if the person resembles himself. But, if they've been in very bad trauma, if they've been, in a situation where, they
like
don't.
A cliff fall or something?
Yeah, car wrecks, something like that. But, if they look like themselves, I think the family
face fire.
Yeah, face fire, bush hog, something like that.
Oh, I used to drive a bush hog, man. Accidentally killed a deer, man, that was just sleeping one time.
Yeah.
Felt horrible about that. Still feel bad about it, but so you're saying if they look decent enough, you'd go open casket.
Uh-huh.
You going to go OC, you think?
I think so.
Dang, you heard it.
That's right. That's my plan. I want everybody to see me one more time.
Yeah. Now, some people, their faces get fat. I noticed that the last funeral I went to. People's face get fat when they lay them down like that.
Well, some of it could be that they swelled them during the embalming process, or if they were in the hospital for a long time, that could be part of it. Or sometimes if you've got somebody who kind of has jowls that,
mm-hmm.
When they lay back, those fall back, and so it doesn't make them look like themselves because that should be up here, whereas it's laying back.
How hard is that body when it's laying in the casket? Is it pretty hard?
It depends upon how hard you set it up, and what I mean by that is this embalming fluid. The more you put in, the more it's gonna harden somebody up. So you can set them up like really, really hard. But the problem with that is it's going to dehydrate them a lot. So basically, you can do that, but they're going to turn more to leather, and they're not going to feel like a human body, and they're going to dehydrate, and so it's going to require a lot more cosmetics and stuff and make them look unnatural.
Damn. Is there any perfect way to do it, man? I can't believe there's only embalming and creaming or cremation. But I think I'd love to be damn wrapped in bacon or something. You know, I'd love to be this, you know, I'd love to be, what's the one where they cut you open and put cheese in you, you know?
Stuffed crust.
Cordon bleu. Or I'd go stuffed crust, son. Stuffed crust would be great.
And so now they do have, sometimes we do what's called like a green burial. And that's where somebody is still buried, but they're not embalmed. And so they don't want to be embalmed, and they just want to be more natural. And sometimes they'll be, you know, just like in a wood casket and buried in a cemetery without a vault and everything else because they want to go back to the earth as quickly as possible.
And is that growing in popularity?
In some areas it is. But, you know, the Jews don't embalm. An Orthodox Jew does not embalm.
Wow.
That's one of the things you learn when you're in mortuary school is different religions and kind of how their preference is. And I'm not for sure if you know this, but I went to mortuary school here in Nashville. There's a mortuary college in Nashville. Dang. It's called John A. Gupton College, and it's over on Church Street. And one of the things that they do is your last semester of mortuary school, they assign you to work 1 day a week at a funeral home as part of your schooling. So they've got certain funeral homes that they'll assign you at. And I worked at one here in Nashville, and it was the Jewish funeral home.
Wow.
And so
there's no embalming there.
There's not for the Jews, and they're real strict about it. And so basically,
why? It's just kind of in their doctrine?
Yes. And they have the guild that comes and washes the body and wraps the body and prepares the body. It's a sect from the church. And then we would put the body in what's called an urn. And what that is that's a Jewish casket that's entirely made of wood.
Wow.
And then we would take it to the cemetery and bury it.
How quickly? Pretty quick?
Pretty quick. Normally if they died today, it would be by sundown the next day.
How fast can you get me in the ground if I die? You guys do any like 8-hour packages or anything like that?
I mean, we can get you in the ground pretty quick depending upon the cemetery.
Amen.
So, you know, used to.
And how deep can you get me? Can I go 12 feet or it's only 6?
No, you can go deeper because
cost more.
No, as long as the ground's good. You know, because sometimes you've gotten cemeteries and you get down so far and it's solid rock. You know, you hit that bedrock and everything else. But like, for instance, there's cemeteries such as a lot of veteran cemeteries. They do what's called double depth. And so like if you've got a husband and wife, they'll put the first one that dies, they'll put them down, you know, probably 10 to 12 feet.
Wow.
And then when the second one dies, they'll dig down part of the way and then they'll put them there.
Man.
And so they're double depth. Damn. Now, different states have different requirements. And most people, you know, have that ingrained in their head that, oh, I'm 6 feet deep. Well, in the state of Kentucky, the law says that if you're in a burial vault, there only has to be 18 inches of dirt on top of you.
Wow.
Now, most of the time there is more than that, but that's the minimum legal requirement.
So you could go shallow here over in Kentucky. You go 18 inches. Damn. Anybody do it still sometimes?
I mean, most of the times not, but you know, and what it is used to when graves were dug by hand, they used to be sometimes more shallow than they are now when they're dug by machine.
You know, I'll tell you, when I was growing up, they had a man who in our neighborhood who he died, and they buried him in the backyard. They buried him in their backyard, and they invited me and this one kid over there to the service, and we didn't know what a service was. We never seen it or anything, you know. And they said, you want to come to a service? And we thought maybe it was like tennis or something, you know. But we got back there, and next thing you know, we're all sitting in these folding chairs, and they're burying this dude, this old dude, Mr. Polito. And they just put him in the ground, man. And they said, anybody want to say anything? And my friend Summerall, dude, this young fella, he said grace, like you would say over dinner. You know, he didn't know what to say, you know. So his little wild ass said, God is great, God is good, God, we thank you for this food. And I just remember standing there just being like, what in the hell's going on, you know? Do some families still just bury their own?
They have to be buried. You can't be just buried on your property unless there's a cemetery there.
Now, how do you get it legally cemeterized?
Well, if it's just a family cemetery, it's the biggest difference is whether or not you're going to be selling plots.
Oh, okay.
If you sell plots to other individuals, that's a whole lot more red tape than if it's just going to be a family cemetery. But you have to have it. You have to have so much area set aside for the cemetery. It has to be reflected in the deed. You have to have permanent egress to it. And so there's a little bit of work that has to be done, and it has to be fenced. And so there's some stuff that has to be done legally to make those requirements. But if you meet
that,
no.
So if I die, what's the best way for me to die then?
The best way for you to die would probably be in your sleep.
Okay.
But with somebody checking on you so they don't let you just lay there for hours after you die.
So after I'm dead, should someone just roll me over like every 30 minutes or something? Like, what's the best way?
No, they should call me.
Okay.
Well, after you die, that's what you should do. You call Frank Giles.
That's it. You call Frank Giles.
That's right.
That canary, baby, he'll get over there and help you to the afterlife. Now, but what's the best way for somebody to take care of the body? Should you rotate it every 30 minutes, or what should you do?
No, just leave it there, you know.
Front down or back down?
Oh, back down, you know, head slightly elevated.
Okay.
And then
put a book under the head maybe?
Or a pillow.
Okay.
A pillow's always nice.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to tell you about that is, are you familiar with jaundice?
Yeah. My sister had jaundice growing up.
Okay. Well, jaundice will react with formaldehyde. So we've got there's a special fluid that you use for a jaundice body. And if you don't use the correct fluid, and if you had jaundice really bad, and I just poured this Chromatec pink to you, well, the formaldehyde in it will react with the bilirubin in the jaundice, and it will cause the body to turn green.
Just smurf out almost, huh?
Like Shrek. Dang. You be Shrek'd out like green.
And has that ever accidentally happened?
Well, I've had it happen where like somebody died in another state and they sent them in to me. And I got this lady one time, and by the time she got to me, she was green. And so then what we had to do was all we could do is cosmetize over it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't go back in and reverse that. And so...
Man. So they might be green underneath, huh?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Could I take a sip of that? You think would it hurt me?
Oh, yeah, it'd hurt you. Yeah, it's... they've got all kinds of warning labels on there. Poison, do not drink, and, and it's also a known carcinogen. So,
is it?
Yeah, so... They tell you that, it's going to cause cancer if you're exposed to it too much. And I still work with it every day.
Wow.
That's the risk I take.
Yeah. Dang. If you're helping people with cancer, you might get it.
Uh-huh.
Damn.
But, that's why I do what I do, because I'm helping the family.
Yeah. Now, can you eat near the bodies or not?
It's frowned upon. People, people don't, it's now you're talking about when the preparation's going on. Yeah, that's frowned upon. Now, if you're saying if somebody's, let's say you're having visitation and the widow's standing up there, in the receiving line and she's eating a cracker or a sandwich or whatever, that's her call.
Yeah.
But
what about you while you're fixing the bodies up, and you guys are there finishing off a Reuben or something? You ever had?
Yeah, no, that's frowned upon. They OSHA doesn't like for you to eat or drink in the prep room.
Damn. Because sometimes I'd want to have a beer or something by a body.
So that'd be frowned upon.
Have you had to bury any of your own family?
Yes. When I was working there, one of my grandmothers died, and so we handled that. I've had some great aunts and stuff like that have gone through the funeral home since I've had it. But both of my parents are still living, and all my other grandparents were already dead before I got into the funeral business. But I've had lots of cousins and people that I've known who've come through the funeral home.
Do people look at you weird because you work in the death trade?
Most of them have gotten used to it. Now, when I was in high school, the principal, he and I got along pretty good, and he used to always pick on me about it. He'd be like, Giles, I don't know what you're doing. Or sometimes he'd just look at me and be like, you're sick. You're sick and twisted.
Yeah. Is he dead or not?
No, he's still living.
He'll die.
I saw him at the funeral home probably about a month ago. He said, well, I see you're still here.
Yeah.
Got your name on the sign.
Say it'll be you soon. Now, what about our body? What about our colon and feces and stuff like that? What happens to that part of us?
That's one of the things that we suck out with that trocar.
Okay.
We'll suck that crap out of you.
Dang, and how long does it take? Just depends, kind of?
Yeah, it depends upon, what all is in the body and everything else. And, because some conditions put more fluid on the body and everything. Like if there's somebody that's very edematous and they've got a lot of extra fluid, we put extra fluids in them to kind of get that fluid out and to try to draw that fluid off the body.
Man. And so all that just goes down the drain. And then what do you put in the colon? What do y'all fill it up with?
We have a different chemical that is very similar to this. It looks the same, just different color, but it's designed to go back in there and to treat those cavities.
Wow. What color is it?
It is kind of a greenish blue.
Okay. And do you sew up the butt, the sphincter? Do y'all sew that closed?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Y'all just leave it open?
Well, I mean, normally you leave it natural.
Dang. And that thing stays natural?
Most of the time, yes.
Wow.
So
now, what if it gets a little unnatural? You got a little clip or something, a barrette or something you put on there?
It's more of what would be more like a plug,
a spackle or something.
So, or you can always
y'all caulk it. What do you do? Be honest.
No, it's more like a
cork.
More like a plug.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, of course, if you go old school would be you would stuff it full of cotton. Because
put cotton in somebody's booty like a Build-A-Bear?
Yeah. I guess if you wanted to call it that. But sometimes people used to refer to morticians as cotton stuffers because we used a lot of cotton, to build up different things and so they used to have to put a lot of cotton in there, especially when the fluids and the procedures weren't, as great, that they used to put cotton, in basically every orifice that you could leak from. They'd stuff it full of cotton.
Oh, my thick ass. I'd take half a rabbit probably, man. I'd need a decent amount. Any other good questions we got here? Let's get to one more, and then we'll just thank you for coming, Frank.
Wow.
What's up, you death daddies? Got a question out there. First of all, gang,
baby.
But I was wondering, my granny, she used to be a beautician, but she used to, nighttime as that mortician.
Okay, moonlighting with the deceased.
And she would go in there and she would do the makeup for the deads, them deceased. And I was just wondering, because she had some wild stories, have you, working in there at nighttime by yourself, deep in those depths of hell, have you ever experienced anything a little nutty, a little odd, Anyway, gang, death, baby.
Death, dog. Now, yeah, because a lot of people probably see you as like a Hellboy almost in a way. And so have you ever seen like you ever had any spiritual experiences when you're in there? Like does it get a little haunty? I would imagine it gets kind of haunty, huh?
No, it's one of those things that, you're just there, and it's not necessarily like, I don't ever feel like, there's ghosts or anything there, and I've never had any, quite crazy or wild experiences with any of the bodies or anything like that. I've never, felt like there was somebody else there or anything like that. Sometimes people will ask me that question similar to that, but no, I've never experienced anything like he's talking about.
Wow. So in the end of it all, you're saying you go open casket. That's the way to go, huh?
That's the way that I want to go. Mm-hmm. But that's my choice. And at the end, it's a personal choice. And what's right for me might not be right for you. You might want to be burned. That's fine. That's your choice. My choice is I want to be open casket because I want to have one more good suit on, so everybody can see it and everything else.
Yeah.
And so, but that's the way that I want to go.
I want to be Dan creme brulee, I feel like, or honey mustard. I want something. I'm ready for that next level. Is there something new on the horizon of burial that's starting to kind of peek its head about? Anything you're hearing?
Well, in some states they have this. It's kind of like what they call a flameless cremation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very similar to
like an air dryer kind of.
No, it's more like how you see those old movies where the mob would put you in a 55-gallon drum full of chemicals and then you disintegrate. It's more like that. But that's not recognized as in some states.
That flameless cremation.
Yeah, it's not recognized in Kentucky yet.
Okay.
But I know a guy who's got that business in Missouri. And he does it for other funeral homes or whatever, because most of them haven't made that investment because it hadn't caught on yet. Some people are thinking that, freezing people is going to be the next thing.
Right.
But, you just don't ever know until that next thing gets here. And
how has the business been? Is it still a good business to be in?
It's still a good business to be in. Now, the business has changed a lot from what it used to be. What most people don't realize is that there's funeral homes that are what are considered to be locally owned and operated.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got a business partner, and he and I own the funeral homes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also corporate funeral homes. And those are funeral homes that are owned by your major corporations. And, I mean, they're traded on NASDAQ.
No way.
I mean, the stock exchange, yeah. So, there's companies that own funeral homes all across the country. And, they just buy and sell funeral homes, and that's what they do. So,
and is that does that get a little less personal care, you feel like, when you get involved with those big dogs?
I feel like some of those big ones there, they're not necessarily in it for the family. They're in it for the money,
mm-hmm.
and they're just trying to cut corners so they can make more profit. I've born and raised where I work, and I see those people every day, and I work with, those are my friends, and I'm not going to take advantage of them, and I'm going to treat them with the utmost respect that they deserve, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they get a proper burial or cremation if that's what they choose, mm-hmm. and I want it to be the best that it can for them. Whereas you've got somebody who doesn't know these folks taking care of them, they might not try as hard. That's not as important to them, because the person that lives down the road from me all my life, they're important to me. They're not important to whoever owns, some stockholder in California or Texas. Yeah.
Deaths are us or someplace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dang.
And so, but that's the thing, you always know who you're dealing business with.
Yeah.
And,
there is something nice about that, knowing when you die who's going to handle you.
Exactly. Because sometimes I have families that, they'll call me on my cell phone. They won't even call the funeral home number. They'll say, Mom died. We need you to come. And so here I come.
Yeah, it is something nice about knowing the person that's coming in.
Exactly.
Somebody doesn't have to come in with a name tag on, or, they don't even know. Yeah, somebody don't know you.
Right.
Somebody that comes up to the door. I don't want somebody pulling up and honking, like it's like I'm going to carry him out there.
Like the other day, I went to a house, and I did not know the deceased, but I was standing there talking to the deceased wife, and then the son came around the corner because he'd been back in one of the bedrooms getting something for his mother, and then he came out of the back bedroom, and I knew him, went to high school with him, so so that made her feel better knowing that, oh, he knows my son, he for sure going to take better care of my husband and everything else.
Wow.
And that's what we try to do. And
is there something killing people that you've noticed more over time? Like, you always hear about drug deaths and this and that. Are there things that are growing that you're noticing here at the end of the line?
Well, before COVID, they were talking about, the drugs and the narcotics.
Yeah, OxyContin and all that kind of stuff. Were you noticing it?
We were not having that big of an issue there in Hopkinsville, where they were in some of the other cities where, and I think it just, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to work its way through. And so drug overdoses were a big thing, especially in some of the bigger cities. It seems to have tapered off in the moment, or you're just not hearing about it. But, that does happen. And sometimes, if there's one drug overdose, you're going to get some more, especially if
if that batch comes through.
Yeah, if a bad batch comes through, you could see several.
Oh, yeah.
And, and that's the thing about drugs, that people get so dependent upon them that, you can have a bad batch come through and lose 5 or 6 people.
Oh, fuck. We had some LSD come through one time, and people couldn't even tie their shoes for a damn month,
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't know what these drugs are going to do to you.
You don't. And some of these cancer drugs and these drugs that that they're putting people on to save, to try to prolong their life, are actually having reactions with like the formaldehyde and stuff like that. And so, you're getting sometimes a graying effect, or you're getting different effects on the body based on the chemicals that they're putting in them to try to save them.
And so you don't know that until you really put it in, huh?
Exactly.
Dang.
And so that's one of the things that you're trying to counteract as to what drugs that they've been on and everything else.
Somebody comes out with that damn Turkish gold tent or something.
That's why you got some of these accessory chemicals that are supposed to help balance out the pH and everything else that's in these fluids.
It's like treating a pool almost, huh?
Exactly. Because part of that goes in there is water, so you've got to make sure that the water's good and everything else.
You ever fill somebody a little too much and you're like, oh damn, we put a little too much in them?
Not really, because as you're putting that in, it's still pushing it out, so you're getting it right back out. So
I see. And so once it stops coming out, that's when you know to stop filling.
Well, no, you know by what's coming out, because you can tell when you're draining the blood, okay, this is blood. Now right now I'm getting a lot of fluid back. And so you've
run its course.
Yeah. So you can kind of tell that.
Man, I think that might be about it. Sean, you know anything else? Anything we missed? Literally, huh? Who has the best funeral music? Is it really like I would feel like at black funerals you'd have better music. Do you just have it?
Well, it just depends.
I've been to black churches. Growing up, I go to black churches, man. And, dude, you feel like you're sitting on the Lord's lap, at a black church.
Right. And, that's one of the things about it is here in the South, just like church, and this is not a racial thing, but just like how church is pretty well segregated, here in the South, so are funeral homes. Most of the time, for instance, the city that I'm in, we have primarily white funeral homes and primarily black funeral homes.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I won't bury a black person,
of course not,
or they won't bury a white person.
But people really stick to their culture more.
Their culture, their upbringing, and it's who they know.
Right.
They've known him all their life, and the others have known me all their life, and it's just just like how they choose to go to church. the church is predominantly white or black.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they stick to with the funerals, because that's
the
funerals and your church services. A lot of them go hand in hand.
They cross over.
One of the things that people don't think about with our job is all the coordination that's involved, throughout the lines when somebody dies or whatever. One service that I'll talk to you about for a minute, the gentleman was KIA, and that's military terminology for killed in action.
Amen.
But he was killed in action in World War II. So he dies in World War II in the Battle of Bataan. He is buried over there in a cemetery that they basically buried all the troops that got killed right there. He's buried there.
Oh yeah, buffet style. They put a bunch of them in one spot.
They would just dig graves. And they had this protocol that they did, and they had government issued raincoats, and they'd wrap the body up in the raincoat and they'd bury it, and then they'd move on to their next battle or whatever. Well, there's organizations out there that are going through and trying to find all these soldiers and bring them back to their homes.
Wow.
So, sure enough, I get a call from a family, and they have been in touch with one of these organizations, and they have found the remains of a guy from our town at Bataan. So what they did was they disinterred his body and flew it to Hawaii. And in Hawaii, they matched the DNA for him to one of his nieces. They matched that DNA to confirm that it was him. And then we started making the arrangements to get him back here. So, of course, they booked the flight, and they said, okay, he's going to arrive in Nashville at such and such day at such and such time.
So you guys show up at the airport?
So we show up at the airport with the family and everything else, meet with the airport police at Nashville. And
where do they come through? Baggage come? Just a large item like the golf bags?
Well, they travel underneath. They travel underneath on the plane. But when I was dealing with the airline, the airline's like, now what's going to happen is we're going to go out there and we're going to bring his body here, and you can, the family can receive the body at the here at baggage claim, or actually it's kind of like air cargo.
Oh yeah.
And then the head of the airport police, he showed up, and I started talking to him. He said, these are the cargo people. He said, I'm in charge. He said, you want to go out to meet the plane? I said, yeah, I want to go out to meet the plane. He said, well, put everybody in your vehicles and we'll go out and meet the plane. And so they brought airport vans and everything else, and we drove the hearse and everything out to the tarmac.
Wow.
They brought the, because we had, this was pre-COVID, so we had a full detail of Army men there, and they received the casket, right off the plane, carried him to the hearse, and it was a big deal, real emotional. They had everybody in the area, like in the terminal, come to the glass windows, and they all watched it, and they were all holding flags and everything else as they brought the body to the hearse. And then after that, then we brought him all the way back from out of the tarmac back to Hopkinsville.
And how big was he?
Well, they had him in a full-size casket.
Oh, damn.
Because what they did was they chronicled.
That's a large.
They chronicled everything that they had.
And do you believe it was really him or not?
I do. They had it down to, they had every one of his bones except for one. They had it all laid out. They had all the DNA. They had everything about him they had in this book that they gave to the families and everything else. So we're coming back, we've got police escorts all the way from Nashville, all the way, to the Kentucky state line. And that's when the Tennessee people broke off. And then when we got to Christian County, the the sheriff's department was there waiting on us, and I bet you they had about 8 units there.
Damn.
And then when we got to the city of Hopkinsville, the city was there, and the community came out big for it, and the fire truck, they took the big boom ladder and everything else, and they had huge American flag draped that we drove under and everything else.
Damn.
And we took him out to we took him out to the local cemetery that his parents were buried at.
Wow.
All his brothers were buried there, and we buried him there.
That's
I mean,
magical.
we even had the PGR there, and the PGR is another group that we work with occasionally. And what they are is they're the Patriot Guard Riders, and they're motorcycle guys, and most of them are veterans and everything else. But they really got a lot of notoriety back when there was that group from Kansas that was going around protesting military funerals.
Mm-hmm.
You could call the PGR.
And they'd show up?
And they would show up. And so what they would do is they would ride their motorcycles, with the funeral. And when, like, if you were coming up to the cemetery or whatever, and there was the protesters, they'd stop right there in front of the protesters and rev those motorcycles up. You drive right on by, and you never could hear the protesters.
Oh, wow.
And so
that's really magical. People come out to support veterans,
Yeah.
It means a lot to people, especially to those families, especially getting to be back with your family. I think have your resting place back with your family is something beautiful about that. How, if you're cleaning out somebody's colon, what if you don't get everything? Is there a time later where you're like, oh, I got to run this thing back again?
Sometimes, if you were not to get everything, you would see some distension in the abdomen.
Yep.
And then you would go back and you would do it. And you can
wash
redo
twice,
it.
yeah.
So,
damn.
Now what most people
wash me twice, put a damn piece of spearmint in my ass, man. I just want to be fresh when I'm laying there.
What some people don't think about is when somebody drowns, they sink to the bottom. But as they start to decompose and those gases break up in that cavity, that's what causes them to float. And so sometimes, especially back home around the lake, what will happen is somebody will drown, and so they might not find them for a day or two, and then whenever they start floating up, you don't ever know what time that's going to be, and sometimes what will happen is they'll float up, and they'll get caught up in a barge, and that's either going upriver or downriver.
That wet hitchhiking.
And they won't notice it until daybreak. And then they'll have to stop the barge, and then they've got a lot of red tape and everything else. And, they find this person who's from Kentucky up in Illinois or down in Mississippi.
State lines, yeah. Somebody's fucking hitchhiking.
Well, exactly.
Now, what about this? So you got that last gas in you. Your body builds that last gas. Do you have to let that out?
Normally you can, because when we use that trocar, and
you ever get that hit of gas? You ever hit that gas pocket?
You can hit a gas pocket and it will, shrink up or whatever. But sometimes after you've used that trocar, and there's a button that we use that's kind of like a screw-in button that we put on the person, and if they get distension, sometimes you can just take that button off and it'll release that pressure and release that gas.
And that's like a last fart almost that's in them?
I guess you could call it that.
And does it smell pretty bad?
A lot of times it would, yes.
Wow. I want that. Definitely, I'm doing one. You got to go out with a last blast, I think. Man. I can't tell if I'm more excited about dying or not after talking to you, honestly, Frank.
Well, as long as you've had a good run on Earth, there's always a time to check out. Don't get in a hurry. You only pass this way once.
That's it, huh?
That's right.
Do you feel like people will talk to you about death a lot?
Oh, yeah. Always got questions.
Do you feel like do you ever have somebody wants to get dressed up in something real wild, like a nightgown, or somebody wants to be, dress their little cousin up like Superman or something?
Well, therefore, it kind of goes in phases. Like you'll have phases where, people will want to be buried in like pajamas and stuff like that. And then sometimes, because we're in Kentucky, we have a lot of people that like to be buried in, like UK jersey, not necessarily jerseys, but it might be a UK fleece or polo.
Okay,
or
so
stuff.
state sports pride.
Yes, rocking the sports pride all the way to the grave.
Damn. That's wild, man.
What
will you wear, you think?
Oh, I'll definitely wear a suit. Probably a blue one. Probably
blue looks good.
I like blue suits. It'll probably either be blue or black, but it won't be plain. It'll have some type of stripe or weave in it,
Okay.
Bright tie, probably, maybe a red or, a yellow, something like that, something kind of flashy, as far as the tie.
So go flashy is kind of the way to go, you think, a little bit?
So, when I dress, I will dress a little less conservative than some funeral professionals, but, because it's, I'm in a suit every day of my life, just about every day I wake up and I put a suit on. And so, I don't like to just stick with, a solid brown, a solid blue, a solid black, and a solid gray. I've got on a gray pinstripe today with the, a bright pink tie, and everything else.
Oh, I'll die in your damn arms right now. You look like I'm ready, you're ready to help somebody.
Thank you. But, that's me, I've got a couple of suits that some people say are a little bright, but, that's my personality. I like to be, I'm here when you need me and I'm here for the seriousness of it. But, at the same time, it doesn't have to be all drab.
Have you ever had somebody die, they want to be dressed up like Superman, or somebody dressed up like a damn, dressed up like He-Man or, a Miss Butterworth or anything like that? Somebody wants a particular type of costume?
Not so much as a costume. Like we've had people who have worn like a Superman shirt or, something like that. And, but not a real costume, leotards and all that. No capes,
Yeah. What will my penis and stuff look like when I die? Does it look the same, or does it start to look a little different?
No, it'll look pretty much the same.
Nice. And what about like, what happens to fake breasts? Do y'all puncture them and suck them out, or leave them?
No, you leave them.
Oh, hell
they paid good money for those.
Hell yeah, boy. You know what I'm saying, boy? Call me up, son. I'll come over there and I'll freaking put some makeup on those mounds, baby. Wow. And do you have to color the nipples at all with like a powder or a dust?
No, because normally those are covered up.
And what about the balls? Do you have to suck the stuff out of those?
No.
Wow. Interesting, man. Well, man, I think I'm just dang... I guess I just know everything I know now. Do your eyes stay the same color they were?
Yes.
That's cool.
But of course they're closed, so nobody really sees them.
Yeah. What bone was that guy missing? The guy that came back from
I'm not for sure. I don't remember now, but they had a picture in the book that they gave all the family members that had the entire skeleton laid out.
Wow.
And so,
what if somebody lost their legs? Do you bury them in that full size casket, or will you go a little shorter on that casket?
You'll still use that full size, because it's like everything else. If you tried to go smaller, you're going to be. They don't really make smaller caskets on a normal, so it's going to cost more.
Right.
Whereas, like if somebody is really big, they have to get a bigger casket. And there's a company out there, or used to be a company out there called Goliath Casket Company.
Wow.
And that was their niche market, was they made oversized caskets.
Damn.
And their two most popular models were 48 inches wide and 60 inches wide. So that's 4 and 5 feet wide on the interior.
That's a damn queen bed.
I mean, they were big caskets, but when you needed them, you needed them.
Can 2 people legally be buried in one casket?
Technically, I guess you could, depending on most states, but but most of the time they don't go together.
Have you ever buried 2 in one?
I have never buried 2 people in the same casket. Well, let me rephrase that. I've never buried 2 full bodies in the same casket.
Amen.
I have buried people, like sometimes one of them wants to be cremated and the other one wants to be buried, and if the one that's cremated dies first, I have put their cremains in the casket with the other one when the other one dies. I've done that, but I've not put two full bodies in the same casket.
Could you handle it?
Could I handle it? As far as you'd have to have a wider casket, but I mean, I guess I could do it if I had to.
Hell yeah.
But we've had I've had double funerals, but they've all been in separate caskets.
And is it cheaper to go 2 in one casket?
No,
because I'll cut corners, man.
Because what happens is it becomes more expensive because when you're getting into that bigger size, because a bigger size casket is more expensive. When you're getting wider, and then also they're not as many out there as there are standard size caskets.
And you can't just lay somebody right on top of somebody else. That'd be tacky, I guess.
That'd be tacky.
What about what's the smallest casket you've ever done?
It would be like an 18-inch.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like a damn baby Snicker almost.
For like a stillborn baby.
Oh. That's heartbreaking, man. Oh, life is wild, huh?
Yeah. One time we had this situation where a lady had a baby who had died, and the baby had already been dead for 24 hours and was just sitting there with the mother in the hospital room because the mother was still in the hospital. And I remember I met with the baby's daddy about the funeral arrangements before they even released the body because the mother wasn't letting the baby go.
Wow.
And so I told the baby's daddy, I said, you just go back to the hospital and you tell them I'll be there at 6:00 tonight to pick up the body. And when I get there, she'll need to give me the baby. And I got to the hospital, signed all the paperwork and everything else. And I told the nurses on the maternity ward, I said, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to speak to the family. And then I'm going to take the baby home back to the funeral home to go ahead and work on preparing it for the funeral. And the nurse laughed. She said, I want you to know, she said, she's had that baby for over 24 hours, she said, and nobody's taking it away from her. She said, so good luck with it. Good luck with that, but you'll be here all night.
Wow. So you went in there.
So I went into the room there, and I spoke to all the family that was there, and she gave me the baby. And when I walked out of the room with the baby, she started screaming, and because she was so overwhelmed with grief, and I could still hear her screaming when I got on the elevator.
Oh.
And because it's so hard to lose a child, it's so unnatural that you don't know how you would react. Nobody knows how they're going to react until they're in that situation. It's easy to look at it and say, "Oh, I would never react that way," but you don't know how you're going to react.
Oh yeah, Amen,
I mean that's somebody's child or that's somebody's spouse. And, when they get overcome with grief, you just got to be there for them. And, if they need to cry and scream, you just got to kind of help them cry and scream. But if, whatever they need to be, you just got to be there for them. Death brings out the worst in people, but it also brings out the best in people. So you never know You never know how somebody's going to react. You just got to be there for them.
And what do you carry a baby like that in that's that size, man? That's heartbreaking.
We wrap them in a baby blanket, and we carry them just like you would if they were a live child.
And do you sit them up in the front seat, or do you put them in the back, or what do you do?
Most of the time, what we would do is we would, in a situation like that, we would take a car and two people, and so one person would hold the baby in the car, and the other one would drive.
Wow.
You know, they make what is called, it's like a box that you could put the baby in for, to transport it. But I'm not putting a baby in a black box that looks like a tackle box or something like that. I don't think that's fitting and appropriate. So we don't use those type of things.
Wow.
We just use the baby blanket because babies should be in a baby blanket, whether they're alive or dead, and they shouldn't be thrown in a box.
Amen.
You wouldn't carry a live one like that. I'm not going to carry a dead one like that.
Amen. Yeah. Oh, working at the finish line, man. You're working at the finish line.
That's right. Sometimes that finish line's real short to the starting line, and sometimes it's real far away. But you got to be